Chapter 611. Lin Xian was bitterly disappointed by their sinister intentions. Since that was the case, he could only use the long sword in his hand to break open the cage. With a snort, Lin Xian released a ray of sword qi towards the surrounding dark forest. Puff puff! The dazzling sword qi fell into the forest, creating a layer of ripples before disappearing. Don't waste your energy. You can't break open this assassination forest. The middle-aged man laughed disdainfully. Surrender, and I'll give you a quick death. The middle-aged man stood at the top of a tree and looked down at Lin Xian. Lin Xian squinted his eyes and sent a voice transmission to the little white monkey. Whoosh! The little white monkey disappeared in a flash of white light and appeared in front of the middle-aged man. You sent a monkey? What a joke! I think you're crazy. The middle-aged man stretched out his large hands and tried to grab the little white monkey. However, he only caught a white shadow. So fast. The middle-aged man was shocked. The little white monkey's speed was beyond his imagination. However, this made him even more interested. Bang! However, before he could react, the snow-white little monkey's furry little claws slapped his face, instantly stunning him. The middle-aged man felt dizzy for a moment. This is my chance. Lin Xian's eyes lit up. He used all his speed and rushed upwards. At the same time, he unsheathed the wind shadow sword and released a terrifying sword essence. Whoosh! A ray of sword light shot out diagonally and pierced into the middle-aged man's body. Ah! The middle-aged man screamed in pain. At the same time, he recovered from his dizzy state. Bang! Enduring the pain, the middle-aged man's body sank and quickly descended. He disappeared in the air. Only a string of blood was left floating in the air. Ha ha! The little guy got it again. What a surprise! The crimson dragon flew out with a mocking look. Kid, you dare to hurt me? You're asking for it. The middle-aged man's voice was filled with killing intent. So, what if I hurt you? I still want to kill you. Lin Xian coldly snorted. Those who block me die. Humph! I was careless this time. You have no chance. The middle-aged man said in a deep voice. Stay in this assassination forest forever. The middle-aged man disappeared completely, and then the surrounding black trees began to dance. Like a demon, it danced wildly. Every branch was filled with oppressive pressure. They moved through the air and stabbed toward Lin Xian. A series of ear-piercing sounds pierced through the air like a demonic sound, causing people to tremble. Motherlong, dodge. The crimson dragon screamed and flew away quickly. Lin Xian also used his movement technique, turning into countless afterimages as he dodged with extreme speed. On the other hand, the snow-white little monkey had a face full of joy, as if it was very excited. One man and two beasts shuttled through the forest, and the sound of air being torn apart could be heard. 10,000 trees descend. The middle-aged man's venomous voice rang out. Immediately, the entire forest seemed to have come alive as a group of demons danced wildly. Huge tree trunks intertwined, forming a fierce attack that fell downward. A gloomy and terrifying aura shrouded the surroundings. Countless vines danced below like divine whips, tearing through the void. Some of the vines bloomed blood-red flowers, like the mouths of demonic beasts. They were ferocious and terrifying as they swallowed the surroundings. Lin Xian was shocked. The scene was too terrifying. It was as if he had arrived at a gathering place of demons. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. In the void, all kinds of vines and branches danced. Lin Xian's speed was extremely fast, but the space he could move in was getting smaller and smaller. I can't dodge anymore. A fierce look appeared in Lin Xian's eyes. He had to make a move. The wind shadow sword in his hand drew a trajectory in front of him. Sword qi danced, turning into rays of divine light that slashed in all directions. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The surrounding branches and vines broke, but more vines lashed out. Bang! Lin Xian was caught off guard and was hit by a vine. Fortunately, he used the golden thunder body in time to block the attack. However, the violent force still caused his body to move horizontally. "Brat, I'll make you lose your life in pain." The middle-aged man's voice sounded again. The vines became even crazier. In an instant, they had wrapped around Lin Xian and the others. "Break!" The blazing sword light circled around Lin Xian. The vast power was like a long river that swept through the heavens and earth. A ball of sword light formed and enveloped Lin Xian, saving him from danger. The snow-white monkey's body was like lightning. Its speed was even faster than Lin Xian's. Those attacks could not even touch it. However, the Crimson Dragon was unlucky. He had lost most of his power and was pitifully weak. He did not have Lin Xian's powerful attacks, nor did he have the speed of the snow-white monkey. In the end, he was entangled by a group of vines. "Ah, it hurts! It hurts! It hurts!" The vines climbed onto the Crimson Dragon's body and quickly wrapped around it, forming a strangling force. The force was very shocking. Ordinary martial artists at the limit of the spirit-detecting realm would not be able to withstand it. However, the Crimson Dragon only crazily cried out. Its body was not injured at all. Humph! Seeing this scene, the middle-aged man's face became terrifyingly gloomy. One man and two beasts. He had caught one with great difficulty, but he did not expect that he could not hurt them at all. This made him feel like he was going crazy. One had to know that he was an existence that had killed countless martial artists at the limit of the spirit-detecting realm. This forest of assassins was even more terrifying. It was enough to kill any martial artist below the spirit-detecting realm. However, today, it seemed to have lost its effect. Damn it, the middle-aged man was furious. He swore that he would definitely kill Lin Xian and the others. "Ruffian, can you still do it?" Lin Xian asked. "Damn it, Ben Huang is angry." The Crimson Dragon was furious. "If Ben Huang doesn't show his power, you really think I'm a little snake? I'll bite, bite, bite." The Crimson Dragon's head turned and bit at the vines. Although it did not look good, the effect was indeed very good. This was very normal. Although the Crimson Dragon's attack power was not strong, it was still a peerless existence. Its life force had already reached an extremely high level, not to mention these vines. Even a spirit-detecting realm expert might not be able to hurt its body. Seeing the Crimson Dragon break free, Lin Xian roared and swung his long sword in all directions. Just as Lin Xian was fighting fiercely, the city lord's mansion was bustling with noise and excitement. Beautiful women were dancing and singing. It was very lively, accompanied by beauties and experts. At this moment, most of the representatives of Quicksand City's forces were gathered in the main hall. Nan Gongseng and Ma Rulong sat at the end, feeling anxious. Why isn't Brother Lin here yet?" Nan Gongseng was anxious. Could it be that he forgot? Ma Rulong was also worried. Impossible! Even though Brother Lin is a cultivation maniac, there's no way he would forget about this. Could it be that something happened on the way? The two of them were extremely anxious. The birthday banquet had already begun, but Lin Xian was not here yet. If they were discovered, they might offend the city lord's mansion. At that time, it might even alert the city lord. "Hey, aren't these the heroes of the Divine Dragon Pavilion's arena? Why is one person missing?" A mocking voice was heard. Hearing that, Nan Gongseng and Ma Rulong's hearts skipped a beat. What they were afraid of really happened. However, he was in a hurry and could not afford to do so. "Wuji, Wuji," the little white monkey shouted from the side. "You can find it." Lin Xian was delighted. The little white monkey squinted its crescent-shaped eyes and nodded continuously. Then it turned into a white light and disappeared into the depths of the forest. Soon, the little white monkey arrived in front of a towering tree. The tree was very large, with a diameter of more than 10 meters. It was pitch black and looked like a small mountain. At this moment, in the middle of the tree trunk, there was a human face stuck to it. If one looked closely, they would find that it was the face of the middle-aged man. This scene was too strange. A man had merged with a tree and could control the entire forest. It was unbelievable. However, the little white monkey ignored all of this. It raised its furry paw and slapped at the illusory face. Pa! The paw slapped the tree trunk and left a beast claw mark. Ha ha ha! It's useless. I won't faint this time. The middle-aged man laughed wildly. Little thing, I'll kill you in a while. Is that so? You won't have a chance. A cold voice sounded. What? The middle-aged man was shocked. The illusory face suddenly revealed a shocked expression because he saw a figure appear in front of him. It was a young man with a sword in his hand. He looked extremely fierce. Humph, boy, you're good. You actually found this place. The illusory face snorted. So what if you found it? The demonic cloud vine is an ancient strange creature. You can't hurt it at all. Now go to hell. The middle-aged man suddenly shouted. Suddenly, countless purplish black vines flew out and pierced the void like heavenly spears. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The entire space trembled. The vines spun rapidly and turned into powerful shock waves that swept across the land. Chi-chi. In an instant, it pierced through Lin Xian's figure. However, the figure quickly turned into bubbles and disappeared. After image, the middle-aged man was shocked and then snorted. However, in the next moment, he was shocked again because Lin Xian had arrived in front of him. A pitch-black long sword appeared and hung in the void. The long sword was filled with death and nirvana intent. It was as if that sword could take away all life. Let's end this. Lin Xian's voice was cold. He waved the nirvana sword and pierced it into the giant black tree. An invisible force of nirvana rushed out and quickly absorbed the vitality of the giant black tree. No! The middle-aged man's illusory face screamed in horror. He could feel the vitality of the black tree quickly draining away, and the branches were aging. That's impossible. His face was distorted. The demonic cloud vine was an ancient demonic creature. It was very powerful and had a strong vitality. It could be said that it was very difficult to eliminate. An adult demonic cloud vine could easily suck a supremacy dry. Although the middle-aged man's demonic cloud vine had not grown up yet, it was still very powerful. Even martial artists below the supremacy realm could not escape from it. Now, someone could actually hurt his demonic cloud vine, and the other party was only a youth in the late stage of the spirit-detecting realm. It was too unbelievable. Stop. We can talk about this. The middle-aged man screamed. It was very difficult to cultivate the demonic cloud vine. He had spent a lot of effort to make the demonic cloud vine grow to its current state, but now his beloved demonic cloud vine was rapidly losing its vitality. This was undoubtedly taking his life. The middle-aged man's heart was bleeding. Stop! Lin Xian sneered. Why didn't you say that before? Don't you think it's too late to stop now that you can't beat me? I was wrong. I'll let you go now and won't make things difficult for you. The middle-aged man begged for mercy. Is that so? Didn't you want to kill me and use me as fertilizer? Lin Xian sneered. You don't have a chance. I said it before. Either get lost or die. Since you're staying, then die. Kid, I'll fight you to the death. The middle-aged man went crazy. However, Lin Xian did not give him a chance. He activated the Nirvana sword with all his strength. A powerful force of Nirvana surged out and instantly covered the sky. The entire forest was withering and aging. As if it had reached the end of its life, Countless tree trunks turned into ashes. In the end, the surrounding forest gradually disappeared, revealing the outside world. The familiar streets of Quicksand City appeared again. Lin Xian and the others also appeared. Chapter 613. Lin Xian used the Sword of Nirvana and finally destroyed the demonic Cloud Vine's attack. Not only that, but he also destroyed the entire forest. The boundless darkness disappeared, and the outside world was revealed. The middle-aged man's illusory face also appeared beside Lin Xian. However, he was extremely pale and embarrassed. "Please spare my life. I'll tell you who sent me." The middle-aged man's voice trembled. He no longer had the arrogance from before. At this moment, he didn't look like an assassin. He looked more like a stray dog. "No need. I already know." Lin Xian's expression was cold. "Blackwood Stronghold, right?" Hearing this, the middle-aged man's pupils shrank. He was horrified. However, he still wanted to say something. The Sword of Nirvana quickly pierced his chest and took away all his vitality. Then, all the dark forest disappeared. A purplish-black seed fell to the ground. The seed was as big as a fist. It was covered with patterns like a purple cloud. That was close. The Crimson Dragon heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, the demonic Cloud Vine hasn't fully grown yet. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to escape. Demonic Cloud Vine. Lin Xian pondered. Then he took the seed into his hand. This seed should still be alive, right? "Kid, what are you doing? Are you trying to cultivate the demonic Cloud Vine?" The Crimson Dragon was shocked. "I reminded you that the demonic Cloud Vine is very difficult to cultivate. Ordinary people can't cultivate it. Moreover, it's too dangerous. There was once a king who cultivated one, but he was devoured by it." In ancient times, the demonic Cloud Vine represented disaster. The Crimson Dragon reminded him, "Don't worry. I know. I won't use it before I'm sure," Lin Xian said. Then he put it into his storage belt. Lin Xian was shocked after seeing the demonic Cloud Vine's strange energy. However, he wasn't strong enough to control the demonic Cloud Vine. When he was strong enough in the future, he might cultivate the demonic Cloud Vine again. "Let's go quickly. I'm afraid we'll be late." Lin Xian called the Snow White Monkey and the Crimson Dragon and quickly walked towards the City Lord's mansion. At this time, the City Lord's mansion was still singing and dancing, bustling with noise and excitement. However, Nan Gongsheng and Ma Rulong were extremely anxious in their hearts. Lin Xian had yet to arrive, but MT Blackwood had already started to make things difficult for them. I've often heard of the Holy Dragon Arena's reputation. Now that I've seen it today, the two of you are indeed young heroes. Only, I wonder where that young genius with 10 consecutive victories is. That's right. Why didn't he appear on such an important occasion like the City Lord's birthday? Doesn't he want to come here? Many people frowned when they heard those words. Those words were very sharp, as if they were trying to sow discord. Nan Gongsheng and Ma Rulong's eyelids twitched. "Ha ha! How could that be? Brother Lin isn't feeling well, so he went out to rest. He'll be back soon." "Oh, really? Where did he go to rest?" "Our Blackwood family's top quality elixirs are very effective. They can definitely heal his body." MT Blackwood refused to let go because he knew that Lin Xian definitely wouldn't come. "No need. Brother Lin will be back soon." Ma Rulong's voice was cold. As the two sides were arguing, the City Lord's mansion's people frowned. Today was their City Lord's birthday, and they had invited all the forces in Flozen City. Yet someone dared to not come. This was simply not giving them any face. Moreover, the top forces were all here, yet a young man dared to not come? This was simply not putting their City Lord's mansion in his eyes, especially those young disciples. Their expressions were cold, and their eyes were unfriendly. Their cultivations were strong, and they were at the age where they were proud and arrogant. Yet, everyone was praising another young man. This made them feel unsatisfied. The old city lord sat in the main hall, surrounded by colorful clouds, making it impossible to see clearly. At this moment, when he heard the discussion below, he put down his wine cup and remained silent. A somewhat oppressive aura spread out and reverberated in the main hall. Nan Gongsheng was shocked. It seemed that he had alarmed the powerful city lord. Thinking of this, he took a deep breath and quickly stood up. Junior Nan Gongsheng is truly fortunate to be invited by the city lord's mansion today. I hereby present a birthday gift. I hope the city lord will like it. Humph. You? What kind of gift can a small arena bring out to make the city lord like it? What a joke. M.T. Blackwood sneered. Immediately, a group of people echoed and laughter echoed in the surroundings. Nan Gongsheng's expression did not change as he stood with a smile. If it was something else, he would be a little worried. However, he had absolute confidence in this gift. Present it, a dignified voice sounded. Immediately, an old man walked down and stood in the air. He grabbed the purple sandalwood box with both hands. Then he quickly disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already above the main hall. Standing beside the city lord, the old man presented it with both hands with a respectful expression. The city lord took the sandalwood box and slowly opened it. Then he revealed a look of surprise. I obtained this by chance. It's a 1,000-year-old immortality peach seed. I hope the city lord will like it, said Nan Gongsheng. What? A 1,000-year-old immortality peach seed? Everyone was shocked and in an uproar. One had to know that Quicksand City's climate was special, and it was very short of water. Therefore, there were very few spirit herbs here, and most of them were not very old. A 1,000-year-old spirit herb seed was very rare. Even a supremacy might not have one. Now, a spirit-detecting kid had presented such a big gift. The surrounding people exclaimed, and the way they looked at Nan Gongsheng and the others changed. The people of the Nangong family were also surprised. They did not know when Nan Gongsheng had such a treasure. The faces of M.T. Blackwood and the other disciples of the Blackwood family darkened. They had just mocked Nan Gongsheng for not being able to take out anything good. In the end, Nan Gongsheng took out a 1,000-year-old spirit herb seed. At this moment, they felt their faces burning, as if they had been slapped hard. Not bad. It does look like a 1,000-year-old spirit herb seed, and it's full of spirituality. It's a high-grade item, the city lord said with a smile. Immediately, the air that was originally condensed dissipated and was replaced by a gentle aura. It's indeed a big gift. You're very considerate. The city lord's attitude was obviously much better, and there was even a trace of a smile on his face. Immediately, everyone was shocked again. It was not easy to get the city lord's praise. One had to know that before this, the city lord had only shown such an attitude when interacting with the older generation. The younger generation had never been appreciated by the city lord. But now, Nan Gongsheng was being praised. The young disciples present were very shocked, especially the disciples of the Blackwood family. Their faces were extremely gloomy. Humph! Don't think that you can escape the crime of looking down on the city lord with a gift, M.T. Blackwood sneered, and there was a trace of malevolence in his voice. Lin Xian dared to not attend the birthday banquet. This is a challenge and an insult to the city lord's mansion. His voice was unusually sharp, and it immediately intensified the conflict. Immediately, the entire hall fell silent again. Chapter 614. Hei Mushin's words silenced the hall. Once again, many people were shocked. It seemed like the Hei Mushin family was at odds with the Holy Dragon Arena. Brother Hei Mushin is right. That kid is too despicable. How dare he not come to the banquet? A young man snorted. Immediately, the crowd was shocked, and many of them revealed gloating expressions. Nan Gongseng frowned. The young man who spoke was from the city governor's estate. He was a young master of the city governor's estate with a high status. At this moment, he expressed his dissatisfaction. Naturally, he stood on He Mushin's side. Young Master Qi is right. I think we should capture Lin Xian and teach him a lesson. He Mushin sneered. Don't worry. I'll send someone, the young man said in a deep voice. No need. I'm here. A steady voice sounded. Suddenly, a figure appeared in the hall. Everyone looked over and saw that the person was Lin Xian. Phew! Nan Gongseng and Ma Rulong both breathed a sigh of relief. They could finally put their hearts at ease. He Mushin's pupils constricted. He stood up in shock. You're fine? Why? Do you want something to happen to me? Lin Xian sneered. Or did your plan fail? He Mushin's face changed. What nonsense are you talking about? I don't understand. He did send an expert to assassinate Lin Xian. However, he would never admit it. However, the fact that Lin Xian was able to make it here was beyond his expectations. Damn it. How is he still alive? He Mushin couldn't understand. After all, he had hired top assassins. They were called the Dark Hunters. Ordinary martial artists below the Venerable Realm couldn't escape. However, Lin Xian had actually managed to escape. He Mushin didn't know what happened. However, he wouldn't let Lin Xian go. Humph, Lin Xian. How dare you? How dare you be late for the city governor's birthday banquet? I think you're deliberately provoking the city governor's dignity. He Mushin snorted. He wanted to show Lin Xian his power. Provoking the city lord? Lin Xian looked at Blackwood Mountain and sneered. I'm very curious. Are you a roundworm in my stomach? You actually know what I'm thinking. Or are you just making wild guesses? Blackwood Mountain, this is the city lord's mansion. It's not a place for you, a member of the Blackwood Castle, to behave atrociously. Lin Xian's voice was firm and resolute. He Mushin was so angry that his face turned red, and his whole body trembled. A little martial artist actually dared to berate him to his face. This was courting death. No one had ever dared to treat him like this. Blackwood Mountain's eyes were filled with endless killing intent. Humph! Where did this wild brat come from? This is not a place for you to behave atrociously. Get out. An elder of the Blackwood family coldly snorted. What? The young one can't do it, so the old one can? Lin Xian was not afraid. This is the city lord's birthday celebration. You want to fight? You've come to the wrong place, haven't you? After the city lord's birthday celebration, the Divine Dragon Pavilion's battle arena will welcome you at any time. However, please take note now. Do not disturb the city lord's birthday celebration. Lin Xian's voice was sonorous. Instantly, the entire Blackwood family was so angry that their faces turned black. The surrounding people were also shocked. This Lin Xian was so valiant to be able to turn the situation around under such unfavorable conditions. He was indeed powerful. After a few words, Lin Xian covered up the fact that he was late. Instead, he seized the weakness of the Blackwood family and quickly counterattacked. It was really beautiful. What a sharp-tongued brat. However, it's useless. The Blackwood family can't control you, but I can. Young Master Qi coldly snorted. He looked at Lin Xian with a trace of coldness in his eyes. There were two reasons why he was hostile to Lin Xian. Firstly, he was on good terms with the Blackwood family. At this moment, of course, he would stand with the Blackwood family to suppress Lin Xian. Secondly, as a young expert, he was very conceited. Other than a few great prodigies, he didn't put anyone else in his eyes. And these days, the entire Quicksand City was talking about Lin Xian. This made him very unhappy. Even he didn't have this kind of fame. What right did a little spirit-detecting martial artist have to receive this kind of treatment? Therefore, when he saw Lin Xian today, he had a desire to suppress him. Seeing young Master Qi's attitude, Lin Xian frowned. The other party was from the city lord's residence, so he couldn't openly oppose him, especially on this special day of the city lord's birthday. However, he wasn't someone who would be bullied. He really didn't care about young Master Chi's attitude. What he cared about was the city lord's attitude. However, the city lord was wrapped in a hazy light and couldn't be seen clearly. On the other hand, Nan Gongxing transmitted a message and told him about what had happened. After Lin Xian heard this, he felt more confident. Since the city lord had accepted the 1,000-year immortality peach seed, his attitude shouldn't be too bad. Thinking of this, he smiled slightly. "You're also from the city lord's residence," saying this is too hurtful. Lin Xian's face was full of regret. "I wasn't late for no reason. I had a reason." "Reason?" Young Master Chi snorted. "Of course there's a reason. I was late because I went to prepare a gift for the city lord." "Gift?" Everyone was stunned. Didn't the divine Dragon Pavilion's arena just give him a 1,000-year spirit fruit seed? Why was there a gift? Nan Gongsheng and the others were also stunned. They didn't know what Lin Xian was up to. Blackwood Mountain and the others sneered with a look of disbelief. Young Master Chi also snorted. "It's such a long-time gift. It must be a treasure. If you can't take it out, I'll take your head." Hearing this, Lin Xian revealed a mysterious smile. Although he had been cultivating these days, he also learned from Nan Gongsheng that although the city lord was a supremacy, he had a hobby, and that was drinking. Therefore, Lin Xian brewed a pot of spirit wine in advance. Lin Xian had learned a lot about spirit wine from Lord Alcohol. His technique could be said to be shocking. Other than Lord Alcohol, no one could beat him. With a flip of his palm, a pot of spirit wine appeared in his hand. "I know that the city lord loves to drink, so I brewed a pot for City Lord Qing to taste," Lin Xian said with a smile. "Taste?" Young Master Qi snorted. "Who do you think you are? You should know that the city lord has a body of gold. Why would he drink your lousy wine?" The surrounding warriors sneered. They knew that the city lord loved to drink, but not many people gave him wine. Not only did the city lord love wine, but his taste was also tricky. He didn't care for ordinary spirit wines. Only spirit wines brewed by wine masters could match the city lord's taste. Therefore, although others wanted to give him wine, they couldn't. "Sigh, this kid is going to be unlucky. How can a small warrior like him have good wine? I guess he won't be able to curry favor this time. He's going to be unlucky." He serves him right. Spirit wine isn't that easy to give away. Nan Gongsheng and young Master Qi were surprised. They didn't know that Lin Xian brewed spirit wine. Blackwood Mountain sneered. "Idiot, he's courting death." Originally, he couldn't find a way to deal with Lin Xian, but he didn't expect Lin Xian to take the initiative to deliver himself to him. The city lord would definitely refuse. When that happened, he would probably be angry. When that happened, it would be Lin Xian's death. Lin Xian took in everyone's reaction, but he was very confident. He smiled and opened the lid of the wine pot. Chapter 6:15. Lin Xian opened the lid of the wine jug. A rich wine aroma wafted out and filled the hall. The aroma was very rich, making people intoxicated and unable to extricate themselves. "It smells so good. What kind of spirit wine is this?" Everyone exclaimed. "Top quality. I didn't expect Lin Xian to have such a spirit wine. Who is this kid? Why does he have so many good things?" Blackwood Mountain and young Master Qi were also stunned. The two of them were stunned. They didn't expect Lin Xian to have such a high-quality spirit wine. "Good wine." The city lord also let out a loud laugh. This time, the city lord personally took action. The colorful light around him surged and formed a colorful waterfall. He threw it into the air and took away the wine jug in Lin Xian's hand. "Good wine. It really is good wine." The city lord drank a cup, then clapped his hands and laughed. Since 100 years ago, when a spirit wine grandmaster left. "I haven't had such a delicious spirit wine." "Good, good, good." Everyone was shocked. They had never seen the city lord so excited before. Even when he received the 1,000-year-old spirit herb seed, he wasn't so excited. But now, Lin Xian's jug of spirit wine made the city lord excited like a child. "Ha ha! Little friend Lin, please sit." "Thank you, city lord." Lin Xian smiled indifferently, then sat beside Nan Gongseng. Nan Gongseng and Ma Rulong looked at Lin Xian with strange expressions. "What's wrong with me?" Lin Xian helplessly rubbed his nose. He was a little scared by the two stares. "Why do I feel like you're a monster? How do you have so many rare treasures? It's not that exaggerated. I only have these things. It's just that they're being used." Lin Xian's jug of spirit wine made the city lord very happy, and Lin Xian himself was admired by the city lord. Obviously, Lin Xian and the others were the biggest winners of this birthday banquet. The Nangong family and Ma family were also happy. After all, Nan Gongseng and Ma Rulong were also the sons of their families. However, the other powers were unhappy, especially the people from the Blackwood stronghold. Their expressions were terrifyingly gloomy. They had originally planned to suppress Lin Xian, but they didn't expect that not only did they fail to suppress him, the other party had even received the city lord's recognition. This made them feel gloomy. In the distance, young Master Qi also snorted coldly. He didn't expect things to turn out like this. Previously, he had even mocked the other party, saying that the other party had brought out a lousy wine. He had even wanted to use his authority to take the other party down. However, he did not expect that Lin Xian would actually take out a top-grade spirit wine. Not only that, even the city lord was very happy. This was unacceptable to him, and he felt as if he had been slapped in the face. Thinking of this, his eyes became even more gloomy. "Brat, don't be too proud. I'll definitely kill you." Young Master Qi snorted coldly in his heart and said respectfully to the city lord, "Ancestor, although we have good wine, the singing and dancing are a bit boring. The men of my Quicksand City are all hot-blooded and warlike. Why don't we invite someone to come up and fight?" "All right, then I'll leave it to you," the city lord said indifferently. His mind was now completely focused on Lin Xian's spirit wine. "Thank you, Ancestor." Qi Tian's face was filled with joy. Then the corner of his mouth raised into a smile as he looked down. "Today is the Ancestor's birthday banquet. Why don't we have a martial arts competition to liven things up and make the city lord happy?" Hearing this, the various forces began to discuss. Many people thought that this was an opportunity. Nan Gongseng and Ma Rulong were vigilant. They knew that a difficult problem was coming. Qi Tian smiled and asked, "I have a servant with decent strength. I wonder which young talent is willing to come up and fight. Is there a need to choose?" Black Musin sneered, "We have someone here who has won 10 consecutive battles. Why don't we let him come up?" Suddenly, the surrounding crowd was shocked, and they all looked at him with an interested expression. "Brat, I heard that you've won 10 consecutive battles. Come up and fight." A bald young man stood out with a shocking aura around him. Lin Xian naturally knew what these people were thinking. He raised his head and casually glanced at the bald young man, then said indifferently, "You win." To be honest, he had no interest in fighting at this kind of banquet. Everyone was surprised. They did not expect Lin Xian to admit defeat. This was too illogical. Qi Tian frowned. This result was also out of his expectations. The bald young man was a battle servant that he had trained. He was very powerful and had once won 10 consecutive battles in a medium-sized arena. It could be said that he did not lose to Lin Xian at all. Originally, he wanted the bald young man to defeat Lin Xian, but he did not expect Lin Xian to admit defeat. Although this was still considered a win, he was still very unhappy. He did not just want a sentence. He wanted Lin Xian to suffer a crushing defeat in front of everyone. He wanted him to never be able to raise his head again. Therefore, he had to let Lin Xian fight. Qi Tian's face was gloomy, and he gave Haimu-san a look. Haimu-san smiled knowingly and said, Lin Xian, you're not giving him any face by doing this. Today is the city lord's birthday banquet. Letting you fight is already giving you face. You're refusing so perfunctorily. It seems like you don't give the city lord any respect. Haimu-san once again pinned a crime on Lin Xian. Oh, so you want me to fight by name? Lin Xian asked in a deep voice. Of course, not accepting the challenge is disrespect to the city lord. Haimu-san smiled. I understand. Lin Xian nodded. I'll challenge you by name. Come up. What? Everyone was stunned. Haimu-san was also stunned. At that moment, his mind went blank. Then his face turned gloomy. Although he was also a martial artist at the limit of the spirit-detecting realm, he could not beat Lin Xian at all. One had to know that Lin Xian had defeated a veteran who had taken the demon blood pill. He was no match for him at all. What, you don't dare to fight? Or admit defeat? Lin Xian's face was full of sarcasm. Haimu-san was trembling with anger. He originally wanted to use the situation to pressure Lin Xian into accepting the challenge, but he did not expect that he would accidentally fall into his opponent's trap. Now, he was in a difficult position. He was very sullen. For a moment, Haimu-san was stunned on the spot. What? Scared? Who said that not accepting the challenge is disrespect to the city lord? Lin Xian sneered. Are you going to disrespect the city lord? Haimu-san's face was ugly, and he complained in his heart. The Haimu family members behind him were also furious. You don't even dare to refuse. Trash, get lost, and save yourself from embarrassment. Lin Xian mocked mercilessly. Nan Gongseng and Ma Rulong were excited. This feeling was too good. I didn't expect that the Haimu family would produce a trash coward. Humph, you're still talking when you can't do it. What an idiot. Nan Gongseng and Ma Rulong sneered. You dash. Haimu-san's face was ashen, and he almost fainted. The Haimu family elders were also furious. They glared fiercely at Lin Xian's group, wanting to tear them apart. Qi Tian's face was full of anger. He said darkly, Lin Xian, logically speaking, you should be competing with my battle servant. Why are you looking for Brother Haimu? That's not very appropriate, right? If you really want to compete with Brother Haimu, that's fine. You have to defeat my battle servant first. Chapter 616. Qi Tian appeared in time to stop Lin Xian. Haimu-san also reacted. He had almost fainted from being angered by Lin Xian just now. Now that he had the chance, he naturally retaliated quickly. That's right. Young Master Qi called out first. If you want to fight, you'll have to fight him first. Haimu-san sneered. It won't be too late to fight me after you win. He was very familiar with Qi Tian's battle servants. He knew that they were a group of madmen who had undergone hellish training since they were young. Moreover, the bald youth was even more impressive. He had once achieved 10 consecutive victories and did not lose to Lin Xian at all. In fact, he was even stronger than Lin Xian. Therefore, Haimu-san was confident that the bald youth could defeat Lin Xian. Even if Lin Xian won in the worst-case scenario, he would have exhausted too much of his spiritual power and might even be seriously injured. If he attacked again, he would definitely be able to defeat Lin Xian easily. Haimu-san revealed a sinister smile at the thought. Lin Xian naturally took note of the other party's reaction. He said calmly, Can I fight you after I fight him? Of course. Haimu-san smiled confidently. With so many seniors here, I hope you remember what you said and don't embarrass the family. Lin Xian laughed and stood up. Come. Everyone was shocked. Lin Xian really accepted the challenge. From the looks of it, He seemed to be very confident. However, those present were all old foxes. They naturally knew that the battle servants of the city lord mansion were very powerful and did not lose to the geniuses outside. Therefore, they did not know the outcome of this battle. The hall was very spacious. At this time, the singers in the center had already retreated, leaving enough space. At this moment, the bald youth stood in the middle of the field like a ferocious beast. "Kid, let me see how good your 10 consecutive victories are." At the end of his sentence, a terrifying aura rose from his body like a wave, sweeping in all directions. There was a dull sound in the air like a storm. The bald youth threw out a punch. All the momentum in the sky condensed on his fist, and it quickly blasted towards Lin Xian. Nan Gongseng and the others were shocked. This punch was too violent, and a normal peak spirit detecting realm cultivator would not be able to withstand it. It seemed like the other side was going all out. Lin Xian didn't have any misgivings. He used the concept of wind and condensed a green jade sword. With a slash of the sword, a fierce wind tore through the earth and quickly slashed forward. Boom! The bald youth's fist collided with Lin Xian's green jade longsword, creating an earth-shattering sound. In the next moment, the bald young man's body trembled, and he took 4 or 5 steps back. What? He was pushed back. Many people were shocked. They didn't expect Lin Xian to be so powerful. Qi Tian's face turned gloomy, but he still wanted to believe in his battle servant. Lin Xian's sword forced the bald youth back, and his body rushed forward like a gust of wind. His long sword stabbed out once more, and the surrounding air quickly rotated, forming a spiral wind blade. This spiral attack was even more powerful. It directly tore through the air like a piece of cloth, creating a sizzling sound. Many young experts' expressions changed. This kind of attack made their hearts tremble. Pung! Before the bald youth could stabilize his body, he was hit by the green jade longsword again. This time, he was directly sent flying and smashed into the ground. There was a sword hole on his shoulder. It was sinister and terrifying, and blood was quickly flowing out. "You lost?" Lin Xian shrugged, looking very relaxed. Qi Tian's face was ashen. He quickly transmitted, "Kill him, kill." The bald youth roared. Originally, he didn't care about Lin Xian. Although Lin Xian's name was very famous, he thought it was only a rumor and couldn't be trusted. Moreover, he was very confident in his own strength. Therefore, he thought this battle would be very easy. However, he didn't expect that he would be suppressed and even injured. With a roar, the bald youth quickly stopped the injury on his shoulder. Then he looked at Lin Xian gloomily. In his eyes, a ball of anger was burning, as if it could burn Lin Xian to ashes. He stomped his feet, and like a meteor, he pounced forward again. This time, he punched out with both fists. The violent power was enough to tear an ultimate warrior apart. However, Lin Xian shook his head slightly. He held the green jade sword and quickly slashed down. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew, forming countless green sword shadows. These sword shadows, under Lin Xian's control, quickly stabbed towards the bald youth. Ding, 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 ding. The defensive armor in front of the bald youth was pierced in an instant. Suddenly, countless sword chi hit his body and sent him flying again. When the sky full of sword shadows disappeared, everyone looked over anxiously and immediately sucked in a breath of cold air. They saw the bald youth lying on the ground. His body was covered with sword scars. They were so densely packed that it made their hearts beat wildly. However, these sword scars were very controlled. Although they were terrifying, they weren't fatal. It was obvious that Lin Xian had shown mercy. Everyone present was an expert. They naturally knew that Lin Xian was giving face to the city lord. Otherwise, the bald youth would have died thousands of times. Even so, everyone still gasped. One had to know that the city lord's mansion's battle servants were very strong. Take this bald youth, for example. He was definitely an expert among the ultimate warriors of the spirit-detecting realm. However, such an expert couldn't even fight back in front of Lin Xian. This kind of super strength made those young martial artists feel apprehensive. Lin Xian was too powerful. He was definitely a top-notch figure. Qi Tian was so angry that he was trembling. He didn't expect his subordinate to be so pale. This made him feel like he was going crazy. At the same time, he was also shocked by Lin Xian's strength. The bald young man was ranked in the top 3 amongst his combat servants. Yet even such a person hadn't been able to resist a single attack from Lin Xian. So, there was probably no one amongst his combat servants who could be a match for Lin Xian. After Lin Xian defeated the bald youth, he turned to look at Blackwood Mountain. Suddenly, the latter's body trembled, and his face became very ugly. Lin Xian was too strong. He wasn't a match for him at all. However, Blackwood Mountain wasn't going to sit still and wait for death. He roared, "How dare you? The city lord's birthday banquet was supposed to be a spar. How dare you use such a killer move? Are you trying to rebel?" He wanted to use this opportunity to suppress Lin Xian. "Killer?" Lin Xian snorted. "If I wanted to kill him, he would have died long ago. I'm afraid all the experts here can see that. Your strength isn't enough, and your eyesight isn't good either. It's best if you don't jump out and embarrass yourself." Hearing this, Blackwood Mountain trembled in anger and spat out a mouthful of blood. He naturally knew that Lin Xian was holding back, but he couldn't say it out loud. Now he was being mocked for being weak and having poor eyesight. This made him want to die. There's no point in talking anymore. Now, it's your turn. Come on, let me see what kind of ability you have to yell here. Lin Xian stared at Blackwood Mountain. Chapter 617. Now, it's time for us to fight. Lin Xian stared at MT Haimo. Putting the past aside, MT Haimo had repeatedly pressured Lin Xian during the banquet. He even wanted to take the opportunity to pin a crime on him and get rid of Lin Xian. There was no way Lin Xian would let such an enemy go. MT Haimo's body trembled as fear appeared in his eyes. He was no match for Lin Xian at all. Yet he dared to boast like that. He originally thought that the battle between Lin Xian and the bald youth would end in a lose-lose situation. However, he did not expect it to turn out like this. He was momentarily stunned, as he did not know what to do. "Are you afraid now? Where's your arrogance from before?" Nan Gongseng sneered. "You said such bold words before, and even swore in front of so many seniors. If you don't fight now, I'm afraid you'll embarrass the Haima family." Ma Long snorted. Hearing that, the disciples of the Nangong family and Ma family mocked him. They were competitors with the Haima family. Furthermore, MT Haimo had repeatedly suppressed the Divine Dragon Pavilion's arena. This made them very unhappy. One should know that Lin Xian was not the only one in the Divine Dragon Pavilion's arena. Their family's disciples were there too. Therefore, they were furious. Now that they seized this opportunity, they naturally had to mock MT Haimo. Hearing that, the surrounding martial artists looked at the Haima family with a different expression. Their eyes were filled with mockery and sarcasm. The faces of the Haima family's disciples turned red. They wished they could find a hole to hide in. Elder Anxio's expression turned ugly. Many of the elders looked at MT Haimo with rage in their eyes. MT Haimo sensed the anger in the elder's eyes, and his body trembled even more. "Useless thing! You've brought shame to the clan? Accept the challenge." The Haima family's elders shouted coldly. Hearing that, MT Haima's face fell, and he almost cried. He had the urge to curse. He did it for the family. However, the family did not care about his life and death. For the sake of their dignity, they forced him to fight Lin Xian. It gave him a feeling of abandonment. He still wanted to struggle. However, An elder coldly snorted and waved his hand. Bringing forth a gale, he pushed Mount Blackwood to the center of the stage. It seemed that in order to preserve their dignity, the Darkwood clan had decided to give up on Blackwood Mountain. Blackwood Mountain was pushed to the center of the field. He was panicking. He still wanted to escape, but Lin Xian blocked his path. The surrounding cultivators cheered even louder. What a beautiful movement technique. I didn't expect Brother Heimu to be so impatient. What a surprise. Lin Xian said with a smile. Accident my ass. M.T. Blackwood's expression turned extremely ugly. He was on the verge of tears. He knew that there was no point in running away now, so he might as well fight to his heart's content. In any case, he believed that Lin Xian would not dare to kill him in this kind of situation. He would only suffer a little pain. As long as he could survive this, he would definitely find his family's elders and kill Lin Xian in secret. Die, you little bastard. M.T. Blackwood waved both of his palms. A large amount of light surged, forming a rain of light that quickly shot forward. Lin Xian used the concept of wind to form a sword of wind and quickly slashed down. With one slash, he destroyed all of the attacks. At that moment, M.T. Blackwood had already retreated several dozen meters. He was wearing a purple gold armor that emitted a hazy light that wrapped around his body. At the same time, he was holding two treasured artifacts. In his left hand was a golden-colored round shield that was as heavy as a rock. In his right hand was a long blade. On the blade, a cold light shone. It was obvious that it was not an ordinary item. Among the three weapons, two of them were upper spirit rank treasured artifacts. They were extremely powerful. It seemed that M.T. Blackwood was extremely careful. Seeing M.T. Blackwood wrapped his body like a tortoise's shell, the crowd laughed. This guy is truly afraid of death. Marulong shook his head. Humph, he's still so arrogant when he has no balls. What an idiot. Nan Gongseng sneered in disdain. Seeing M.T. Blackwood's actions, Lin Xian also laughed. He removed the concept of wind and replaced it with the concept of lightning. There was already a sword of lightning in his hand. The golden-colored sword shone with a dazzling light like the sun. The sword was filled with a berserk power. It was the power of lightning. The concept of wind was proficient in speed and strange changes. As for the concept of lightning, it was the symbol of berserk and power. As for this lightning sword, it was able to display the berserk power to the pinnacle. As the sword ascended, a golden sword aura swept through the air. It was like a bolt of lightning that exploded in the air. The entire space started to boil. It was as if it could not withstand the power and started to emit buzzing sounds. In an instant, the sky was filled with lightning. The golden sword aura quickly slashed toward M.T. Blackwood. With M.T. Blackwood's strength, it was naturally impossible for him to block it. Thus, he placed all of his hopes on the two defensive treasured artifacts. He pushed his spiritual power with all his might. He frantically mobilized the surrounding spiritual energy and quickly poured it into the two defensive treasured artifacts. The air surged and countless spiritual energy surged. Immediately, the purple gold battle armor and golden shield started to shine and rapidly change. The purple gold battle armor appeared and formed patterns that quickly covered M.T. Blackwood's entire body. As for the golden shield, it expanded infinitely and formed a wall of light. It stood above M.T. Blackwood, forming the strongest defense. Those two treasured artifacts were both high spiritual rank treasured artifacts. Thus, M.T. Blackwood was absolutely confident that Lin Xian would not be able to injure him. Although such a battle was somewhat dishonorable, as long as he could withstand Lin Xian's attack, everything would be worth it. Boom! The lightning sword aura descended and collided with M.T. Blackwood's defense. It created an earth-shaking sound. and the entire palace was nearly blown away. Struck by the berserk power, Montana Blackwood was pushed back repeatedly and left deep grooves on the ground. However, he finally managed to withstand Lin Xian's attack. "Ha ha ha ha, brat, let's see how you're going to injure me." M.T. Blackwood rubbed his numb arm and became arrogant again. A sneer appeared on Lin Xian's face. Everything was within his expectations. After all, those two treasured artifacts were high spiritual rank treasured artifacts. If he did not use his true strength, he would not be able to break through their defense. However, dealing with M.T. Blackwood was not worthy of him using his full strength. Furthermore, he had other methods to break through the defense of those two high spiritual rank treasured artifacts. Previously, he had fought against a martial artist. That martial artist knew how to use hidden power. Only a body refinement defense could withstand the defense of treasured artifacts. M.T. Blackwood clearly did not have a body refinement defense. Thus, this move was the most suitable. Furthermore, Lin Xian had the great dragon sword soul and could easily imitate that hidden power attack. Thus, no matter how much defense M.T. Blackwood used, it was completely useless. Soon, the golden longsword condensed again and slashed down fiercely. "It's useless. You can't break through my defense," M.T. Blackwood said disdainfully. The longsword surged and quickly slashed down again. This time, there was no earth-shattering explosion like before. The golden sword aura seemed to be sticking to the light screen. Its movement was extremely gentle. This scene stunned everyone. They did not know what Lin Xian was doing. However, M.T. Blackwood revealed an expression of fear. Chapter 618. That was because he felt a berserk aura pass through his defensive shield and slash towards him. He was shocked and confused. He could not understand how Lin Xian's sword aura could pass through his defense. But now he could not care about that at all. He could only activate his defensive armor with all his might. Purple gold radiance shone as the mysterious armor stuck to his body, forming a solid defense. However, none of that had any effect. In the next moment, that terrifying aura once again ignored the armor's defense and directly entered Haima Shan's body. Haima Shan's face twisted as he screamed crazily. Everyone was shocked, looking at the scene before them. Their hearts turned cold. This Lin Xian was too strong and decisive. He actually dared to injure Haima Shan in front of so many elders of the Haima family. He was too bold. Moreover, his attack was too strange. Even two high-grade spiritual artifacts could not defend against it. Haima Shan screamed as he vomited blood and fell to the ground. He was extremely weak. Everyone from the Haima family was nervous. Among them, a few elders had gloomy expressions. Lin Xian really dared to attack. Wasn't he looking down on them too much? However, they could not stop all of this. They could only bring Haima Shan back with gloomy expressions. Although Haima Shan was vomiting blood, his injuries were not serious. This allowed the Haima family to breathe a sigh of relief. "Damn it, I'll definitely kill you." Haima Shan gritted his teeth and said. He knew that Lin Xian did not dare to be ruthless. However, he would definitely take revenge. Lin Xian shrugged with a nonchalant look on his face. However, he was sneering in his heart. Haima Shan wanted to kill him. Of course, he would not let him go. However, in front of so many people, he naturally could not be ruthless. Otherwise, those old guys from the Haima castle would have an excuse to attack. Therefore, he only symbolically injured Haima Shan. However, he left a hidden sword aura in his body. This hidden sword aura was very well hidden. Unless a venerable personally investigated, no one would be able to discover it. After the birthday banquet ended, he would let this hidden sword aura explode. This way, he would be able to cripple Haima Shan's cultivation. Moreover, even if the Blackwood clan was furious, They couldn't find any evidence. Lin Xian was confident that he could retreat safely as long as he wasn't surrounded by some old monsters at the same time. The members of the Blackwood family looked at Lin Xian with gloomy and cold expressions, but no one dared to clamor again. That was because they did not bring their best disciples with them this time. The disciples that came with them all possessed cultivations that were about the same as those from Blackwood Mountain. Although he was strong in the eyes of others, he was nothing but trash in front of Lin Xian. If he continued to clamor, he would undoubtedly be asking for humiliation. Humph, my big brother He Muya didn't come. Otherwise, I would have suppressed you with one hand. Black Pearl was also a little angry. After all, Lin Xian had embarrassed her family. That's right, kid. You're too arrogant. Compared to big brother He Muya, you're just trash. The disciples of the Blackwood Fort snorted coldly. Even though they were no match for Lin Xian, they wouldn't let Lin Xian steal the limelight either. Moreover, their clansmen, He Muya, were really powerful. Lin Xian had heard of the name He Muya more than once. He believed that the other party must be a peerless genius. Thinking of this, he felt a trace of excitement in his heart. A warrior like Blackwood Mountain could no longer arouse his interest. Only a stronger opponent could make his blood boil. Hee, young friend, your strength is outstanding. You're just as the rumors say. At this moment, City Lord Qi said with a chuckle, City Lord is overpraising me. Lin Xian cupped his fists and said, he was a person who knew his limits. In front of a powerful supremacy like the City Lord, he would not put on a strong front. That would undoubtedly be courting death. With your strength, I believe that you'll be able to shine in the Alliance Combat Meet 2 months later. Alliance Combat Meet. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. He had been in seclusion these days, so he didn't know about this. However, Nan Gongseng quickly told him. This was a combat meet that was jointly held in Quicksand City. Because there were too many foreign martial artists that came during this period of time, many shocking experts had appeared. These people were all following the Murong Heavenly Maiden. Not long ago, there was news that the major forces in the city had received orders from the Murong Heavenly Maiden to hold an unusual combat meet. The winner would obtain the qualifications to pursue the Murong Heavenly Maiden. This was no doubt explosive news, causing the entire Quicksand City to fall into a frenzy. Murong Qingcheng was known as one of the most beautiful women in the Sky Martial Continent. Moreover, she was the apple of the Murong family's eye. If one could obtain the favor of the Murong Qingcheng, not only would he be able to obtain the beauty, he would also be able to obtain the support of the Murong family. This was definitely a great harvest. One had to know that the Murong family was an extremely powerful house of kings. In the Sky Martial Continent, they were an overlord existence. Beauty, power, these were all things that made the men of the world go crazy. This was why the Alliance Combat Meet was so exciting. Moreover, in order to promote the Alliance Combat Meet, the major families of Quicksand City also took out several treasures as rewards for the winner. One of them was the divine Dream Bone, which was the material needed to create the Red Lotus battle armor. Chapter 619. Cultivation. That was the lifeblood of a martial artist. It was also the guarantee of everything. Only with strength could one have status and status. If one's strength and cultivation were gone, then everything would cease to exist. But now, Blackwood Mountain had been crippled. His cultivation and strength were all gone. From now on, he was nothing but a cripple. Blackwood Mountain crazily shouted. He simply couldn't accept this reality. He knew what a cripple's fate was. His fate wouldn't be much better than a dog's. Lin Xian. It must have been Lin Xian who did this. Blackwood Mountain crazily shouted, I will kill you. The Blackwood family clan members also had faces full of killing intent. Their disciple had been crippled by someone, And this was in front of their very eyes. This was the same as slapping their faces. In that instant, countless eyes locked onto Lin Xian. That damned brat. The Blackwood family clan members were enraged. Although they knew that it was Lin Xian who did this, they had no proof. Moreover, Lin Xian had just obtained the city lord's recognition. If they moved against him now, the city lord wouldn't agree, unless they could produce irrefutable proof that it was Lin Xian who did this. However, several elders carefully examined Blackwood Mountain's body and didn't discover anything strange. This result left them even more uncomfortable. Thus, the Blackwood family clan members could only grit their teeth and swallow their anger. The surrounding martial artists were shocked. To be able to cause the people of Blackwood Fort to suffer such a loss, this Lin Xian was far too skilled. It was best not to provoke such a person. Let's go. The few elders of the Blackwood family gave Lin Xian a fierce glare, then quickly left with the crowd. Let's go too. Lin Xian shrugged his shoulders and quickly left with Nan Gongseng. Blackwood Mountain had received his just punishment. There was no need for him to stay. In the following days, Lin Xian lived in seclusion, preparing for the Alliance martial arts tournament. He had to obtain the divine dream bone no matter what. Thus, he had to obtain an extremely good ranking in this tournament. Even if he had to expose some of his hidden cards, he wouldn't hesitate. After returning from the city lord's mansion, Lin Xian consolidated his cultivation. His cultivation had reached the late stage of the spirit-detecting realm, and he was only one step away from the peak. This step was not easy. At the very least, Lin Xian was still unable to break through. However, he wasn't in a hurry. He had just broken through to the late stage and needed to consolidate his foundation. Moreover, his strength was not based on his cultivation, so it did not matter if he could not break through for the time being. In terms of sword intent, it was still at the great accomplishment realm. However, he guessed that there should be a consummation realm above it. As for those above perfection, one would need to be a venerable one to cultivate them. In other words, in the spirit-detecting state, the strongest sword intent was complete. However, Lin Xian had asked the Crimson Dragon and found out that Exalt Realm cultivators didn't cultivate intent, but martial souls. In other words, above the intent realm was the martial spirit. For example, above the sword intent was the sword soul, a power that was even more powerful than the sword intent. Moreover, according to the Crimson Dragon's description, the martial spirit was very important. It could be said that it determined whether a cultivator could enter the Exalt realm. Lin Xian was surprised after hearing this. Only by condensing the embryonic form of the martial soul would a cultivator at the limit of the spirit-detecting realm have the possibility of entering the Exalt realm. In other words, the martial soul was a necessary condition to enter the Exalt realm. Sword soul, Lin Xian muttered. Although his sword intent was only at the great accomplishment realm, there was still a big gap between him and the sword soul. However, he lacked the great dragon sword soul in his body, an even more powerful existence. I wonder if the great dragon sword soul belongs to the sword soul. Kid, you only merged with the great dragon sword soul, but you didn't turn it into your own power. The Crimson Dragon sneered. Right now, you can only mobilize a little bit of its power. You can't even use 1/10,000th of the great dragon sword soul. Rubbing his head, Lin Xian knew that the Crimson Dragon was telling the truth. To fully activate the great dragon sword soul, one needed an extremely high cultivation. That requirement even exceeded that of a venerable one. With Lin Xian's current cultivation, it was impossible for him to reach that level. Is there no other way? Lin Xian frowned. There is a way. The Crimson Dragon's eyes turned. What way? Lin Xian asked anxiously. Refine the great dragon sword soul into your sword soul. Hearing this, Lin Xian rolled his eyes. That was as good as not saying anything. Damn, kid, what's with that expression? The Crimson Dragon was unhappy. You have a way? Lin Xian asked doubtfully. Of course. Don't you know who Ben Huang is? The Crimson Dragon was proud. When Ben Huang galloped the world, your ancestors weren't even born yet. What way? Tell me quickly. Lin Xian's eyes lit up. Hee hee. The Crimson Dragon laughed sinisterly. If you want to know, beg me. You don't want to tell me? Lin Xian grabbed the Snow White monkey. Be careful, I'll release Little White. Hearing this, the Crimson Dragon drooped its head. It was afraid of the Snow White monkey's little claws. The dizziness made it feel disgusted. Forget it, Ben Huang will be kind and tell you for free. Disperse the power of the great dragon sword soul and leave behind its origin. Then refine the city's origin martial spirit. Chapter 6:20. The Crimson Dragon actually wanted to absorb the overflowing spiritual energy to recover its cultivation. No wonder it was so attentive before, and even helped Lin Xian for free. It turned out that it wanted to secretly strengthen itself. If it really succeeded, it would recover its previous cultivation. At that time, no one would be able to suppress it. Wu Ji, the Snow White monkey looked angry. It turned into a white light and rushed over quickly. Humph, little guy, Ben Huang has long been prepared. The Crimson Dragon smiled proudly. Ever since the Snow White monkey was able to knock it out, it had been thinking of countermeasures and finally created a formation. It was completely possible to trap the Snow White monkey for a period of time. Whoosh! A mass of colorful light shone. The Crimson Dragon threw out the formation and enveloped the Snow White monkey. The formation was very strange. It only trapped the Snow White monkey and limited its speed. It did not cause any harm. But for the Crimson Dragon, it was very successful to be able to limit the Snow White monkey's speed. Ha ha ha! Ben Huang is here. The Crimson Dragon shouted and began to absorb the surrounding spiritual energy. Lin Xian formed a seal and entered a state of cultivation. At this moment, he was completely focused on the great dragon sword soul and did not know what was happening in the outside world. The energy in the great dragon sword soul quickly spread out, but in the next moment, all the energy returned to his body. This change surprised Lin Xian. In the outside world, the Crimson Dragon was even more angry. It was originally quickly absorbing the spiritual energy in an attempt to recover its cultivation. However, not long after, the surrounding spiritual energy receded like a tide, and all of it returned to Lin Xian's body. Damn it, what happened? Does that kid know? The Crimson Dragon was uneasy and nervous. However, after careful investigation, it found that Lin Xian did not wake up. Moreover, his handsome little face was slightly frowning. Damn it, what the hell is going on? When the Crimson Dragon found out that it wasn't Lin Xian's doing, it was hopping mad. The situation was too strange. The energy had actually retreated, which made its plan fail. Woogie at the side. The little Snow White monkey mocked him mercilessly. Damn it, little guy, don't laugh. The Crimson Dragon was furious. Then it stared at Lin Xian carefully, trying to figure it out. Lin Xian was also flabbergasted. The energy was coming back to him, which caught him off guard. However, what made him even more surprised was that this huge amount of energy did not flow back into the great dragon sword soul. Instead, it entered the mysterious small sword in his body. This, Lin Xian was stunned. The small glazed sword in his body was very mysterious. It sat firmly on top of the cyclone in his spiritual sea. Even the great dragon sword soul could not shake it. And now, it actually began to absorb the energy within the great dragon sword soul. This was too inconceivable. In the end, Lin Xian didn't even need to use his cultivation technique, as the mysterious little sword began to absorb the energy on its own. Roar. Suddenly, the great dragon sword soul exploded, letting out an unwilling roar. A deep dragon roar echoed in his body. At the same time, Lin Xian's body bloomed with light, and countless streams of light surrounded him. Damn, what happened? The Crimson Dragon exclaimed when it saw this scene. The great dragon sword soul went berserk. What did this brat do? The great dragon sword soul exploded, and a terrifying energy filled Lin Xian's body. Holy light sprinkled down, and a vast amount of energy surged. At this time, a mysterious energy appeared on Lin Xian's body again. It was like a demonic abyss, quickly absorbing the energy of the great dragon sword soul. It appeared again. The Crimson Dragon was stunned. It didn't know that Lin Xian had a mysterious energy. This brat was really strange. He had so many secrets on him. The two forces intertwined, and in the end, the great dragon sword soul was suppressed. Mother Dragon, what did I just see? The Crimson Dragon banged its head on the ground in disbelief. This process lasted for a long time, and in the end, the two balls of light gradually disappeared. When everything returned to normal, the small courtyard regained its tranquility. It was as if everything was just a dream. Gradually, Lin Xian still didn't open his eyes. His soul force was still in his body. At this time, the great dragon sword soul had turned into a mini dragon. It was very cute. As for the mysterious small sword, there was still no change. It was as if the energy had no effect on it. However, in the depths of the mysterious world, there was a huge mountain in the shape of an azure dragon. From afar, it looked like a real dragon lying on the ground. Lin Xian was happy. The great dragon sword soul had returned to its original form. This meant that he could refine it. As long as his sword intent reached perfection, he could take the next step. The so-called martial spirit was a martial spirit formed by the fusion of a martial artist's intent and soul force. Lin Xian already had the embryonic form of a martial spirit. As long as his intent reached perfection, he could fuse it. At that time, the great dragon sword soul would become his origin martial spirit. Just thinking about it made him excited. According to the Crimson Dragon, the martial spirit was very important. Not only did it have a great impact on one's strength, but it also had a great impact on one's future path of martial arts. Therefore, when choosing a martial spirit, one must be very careful. The great dragon sword soul was a strange object between heaven and earth. If one used it as a martial spirit, it would be extremely powerful. Suppressing his happy mood, Lin Xian opened his eyes. Then he saw the Crimson Dragon with an uneasy face. Hee hee, kid, you're awake. The Crimson Dragon crossed its dragon claws. Well, I'm thirsty. I'm going to drink some water. Stop, Lin Xian said with a smile. He found that the Crimson Dragon was too abnormal. This guy must have done something shameful. Wu Ji the Snow-White monkey, ran over and jumped in front of Lin Xian and began to gesticulate. Seeing the vivid description, the Crimson Dragon had a guilty look while Lin Xian's little face turned black. Damn, I was tricked. Lin Xian was very unhappy. He was almost cheated by this Rizalong. Fortunately, he had the mysterious small sword in his body. Otherwise, this guy would have succeeded. If the Crimson Dragon recovered its cultivation, he was afraid that the first one to suffer would be him. Looking at the Crimson Dragon, Lin Xian's eyes lit up. Hee hee, Xiao, Xuanzi, let's talk. The Crimson Dragon laughed dryly. Its face was very ugly. From now on, your primordial yang stone will be restrained. Lin Xian's little face turned cold. What? The Crimson Dragon jumped up. The primordial yang stone was a good thing. It could help it condense dragon essence again. This thing is its lifeblood. However, it quickly became listless. It had just tricked Lin Xian. Lin Xian must be angry. It was already good enough that he did not torture it immediately. Forget it. Let's wait until this kid calms down. The Crimson Dragon looked depressed. Lin Xian sighed in his heart. This Rizalong really needed to be taught a lesson. Otherwise, he would not know when he would be tricked again. In the following days, Lin Xian had been refining his sword intent. He wanted to reach the complete realm as soon as possible so that he could condense his martial soul. At this time, something happened in the Divine Dragon Pavilion's arena. Chapter 6:21. While Lin Xian was cultivating his sword intent, something happened at the Divine Dragon Pavilion's arena. Nan Gongseng hurried over to look for Lin Xian. This is so infuriating. So infuriating. Nan Gongseng screamed. What's wrong? What happened? Lin Xian asked. The Colosseum has been challenged by someone. Even Ma Rulong is injured. What? Rulong is injured? Lin Xian was shocked. He knew Ma Rulong's strength. He was considered a top-notch existence. If even Ma Rulong was injured, one could only imagine how strong the opponent was. Brother Xian, you don't know this, but this is definitely against our arena. Damn it, Qi Tian and the Darkwood clan brought experts here to challenge us. They're clearly going against our Colosseum. Nan Gongseng is furious. Hearing this, Lin Xian's face darkened. It was the Darkwood clan again, and Qi Tian was also involved. Lin Xian knew that this was definitely not the mayor's idea. It was most likely Qi Tian's personal jealousy. This was because Qi Tian had clearly stood on the Darkwood clan's side and suppressed them during the birthday banquet. And now he actually brought people to challenge them. This was simply looking down on them. Let's go take a look, Lin Xian said in a deep voice. Because of the mayor, he would not touch Qi Tian for the time being. However, he would definitely not let the Darkwood clan and the warriors that came with them go. Wait, Ben Huang is going too. The Crimson Dragon howled. It would not miss such a show. Nan Gongseng was already used to this talking red snake. He pulled Lin Xian and ran towards the arena. At this moment, the Sheng Sheng Long Xian's arena was in chaos. The people inside were panicking. When they saw Nan Gongseng and the others return, they heaved a sigh of relief. Young Master Sheng, Young Master Lin, you're back. What's the situation? Lin Xian asked. The people who came to challenge us have left. They said that they will come again tomorrow. Young Master Rulong is also injured, so I temporarily closed the arena. Let's go and take a look, Lin Xian said in a deep voice. Then the deacon led the way. Soon they entered an exquisite bedroom. You're here. When Ma Rulong saw Lin Xian and Nan Gongseng, he struggled to get up from the bed. Don't move. You haven't recovered yet. Lin Xian walked over and supported Ma Rulong. Then he took out a few pills and fed them to Ma Rulong. The quality of these pills might not be as good as the best pills outside, but their healing effects were definitely top-notch. Sure enough, not long after, Ma Rulong's complexion improved a lot. Who was it that could injure you? Lin Xian frowned. Luo Lai, the outstanding talent of the Sand region. He is extremely powerful. Rumor has it that he has never been defeated since his debut. Moreover, he has comprehended the metal attribute. His attack power is extremely powerful. Therefore, many of the warriors in the martial arts arena were beaten up badly yesterday. Looking at the warriors who were beaten up, Lin Xian's face was gloomy. He gave each warrior a healing elixir and asked them to recuperate. Then he said in a deep voice, "You don't have to fight today. Just watch." Hearing that, everyone was shocked and looked at Lin Xian. They all knew that this young man was powerful. Originally, they only wanted Lin Xian to fight against the Sand region's outstanding talent, Luo Lai. However, they did not expect that Lin Xian would take over all the battles. Don't worry, I will avenge all the suffering that you have suffered. Lin Xian clenched his fists and said in a sonorous voice. Remember, no one can bully the martial arts arena of the Divine Dragon Pavilion. Hearing that, everyone's hearts trembled. They looked at Lin Xian and felt their blood boil. They were the most dazzling and tragic group of warriors in the martial arts arena. Usually, they would be well taken care of. However, once they failed, they would be mercilessly kicked out of the martial arts arena. However, even though they were defeated this time, Lin Xian and the rest did not make things difficult for them. They even gave them good elixirs to heal their injuries. Now, they even wanted to avenge them. Thinking of this, they were excited. They all felt that entering the martial arts arena of the Divine Dragon Pavilion was the best choice. Young Master Lin, we believe in you. Young Master Lin, go for it. Defeat them all. The group was extremely excited. Chapter 6:22. Trash from the Divine Dragon Pavilion's arena. Come out now. I'm here again. Trash, come out and face your death. One after another, extremely arrogant voices rang out and reverberated in the air above the arena. The crowd was shocked. It seemed like the Divine Dragon Pavilion's arena was in for a bad time. Hai Muyu and Qi Tian led their men and stood arrogantly in the arena, looking down on everyone. At that moment, Lin Xian and Nan Gongseng led a group of martial artists out. They were very quiet, but there was a murderous aura coming from them. Lin Xian, you're really here. Hai Muyu and Qi Tian revealed a ferocious expression when they saw Lin Xian. Kid, today is the day you die. There's no need for the Divine Dragon Pavilion's arena to exist anymore. Humph, don't think that you'll be safe and sound after pleasing the governor. The governor won't interfere with the younger generation's affairs. The group of people sneered, as if they had everything under control. Upon hearing that, the people of the Divine Dragon Pavilion were enraged, while Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He never expected the governor to protect everything. He would be satisfied as long as he could intimidate those old guys. As for the younger generation, he was never afraid of anyone. Lin Xian's lips curled into a sneer. These guys were really arrogant, but he would make them pay the price. I'm here. Show me what you've got. Lin Xian floated to the arena and said loudly, "Go to hell." In the next moment, a burly man came out from behind Hai Muyu and dashed toward the arena. At the same time, he drew the long saber from his back and slashed down. The dazzling saber gleam tore through the sky like a bolt of lightning. In an instant, the terrifying saber gleam slashed toward Lin Xian. How terrifying! The crowd was shocked. This was definitely an elite among the ultimate powerhouses. They did not expect the Haima family to be such a powerful person. Amidst the crowd's exclamations, Lin Xian raised his arm. He put two fingers together and pinched the saber gleam in the air. Arrogant, you're courting death. Seeing Lin Xian's behavior, Hai Muyu and the others sneered. The surrounding crowd was also shocked. This kind of attack could already kill a peak spirit detecting realm cultivator. Although Lin Xian was strong, wasn't using two fingers a bit too much? The burly man became even more furious. He roared angrily and exerted even more strength. How dare he underestimate him? He would make them pay the price. The sword-wielding man was furious. No one dared to look down on him. Those who dared to look down on him had already paid the price in blood. Clang! Under the shocked gazes of the crowd, Lin Xian stretched out two fingers and easily caught the resplendent blade light. He exerted a little force, and the blade light emitted a cracking sound. Then it cracked and turned into a rain of light. What? That's impossible! Everyone was shocked. The blade-wielding man was even more terrified. His blade was extremely sharp, and a normal peak spirit detecting martial artist would die upon contact. However, Lin Xian used two fingers to easily shatter his attack. Is he still human? After shattering his opponent's attack with two fingers, Lin Xian bent his fingers and flicked out a sword wave. The sword wave was as fast as the wind and as powerful as lightning. It quickly struck the burly man's chest and sent him flying. The burly man spat out blood and flew back. There was a terrifying sword hole in his chest. All of this happened in an instant. By the time everyone regained their senses, the battle was already over. How terrifying! As expected of a genius with 10 consecutive victories, everyone exclaimed. He Muyue and Qi Tian's faces were gloomy. They hadn't seen him for a few days, but he seemed to have become even stronger. They had never heard of such a speed of improvement before. Qi Tian clenched his teeth and said, "Damn this guy. Is he even human?" The burly man just now was even stronger than his battle servant, but such an expert was still easily defeated. This made him feel like he was going crazy. He Muyue's face was gloomy as he shouted, "Go, kill him." Suddenly, another warrior quickly rushed out with a long spear in his hand. The spear stabbed out, and the spear light was like a silver waterfall, producing thunderous sounds in the void. The air was mercilessly cut apart like waves flying to both sides. Everyone was terrified. This warrior was too powerful. His aura seemed to be able to tear the sky apart. Whoosh! Looking at the spear user rushing over, Lin Xian bent his fingers and flicked out another sword wave. Bang! The sword wave was like lightning, instantly hitting the spearhead. Suddenly, the void was like boiling water, violently trembling, accompanied by a terrifying explosion. The spear user was forced back, moving horizontally in the void with a frightened face. Lin Xian didn't stop. His fingers flicked and flicked out another sword wave. Chi, chi. Ripples appeared in the void, mercilessly cut apart. There were even terrifying cracks in some places. Everyone's expression changed. Lin Xian was too powerful. Facing such a powerful opponent, he didn't move at all. He only flicked out 2 sword waves and repelled his opponent. This kind of powerful technique was definitely rare in the world. Moreover, what shocked everyone even more was that the youth in front of them was only 18 years old, and his cultivation was only at the late stage of the spirit-detecting realm. However, most ultimate warriors were no match for him. This kind of person was definitely a heaven-defying existence. In the void, the spear user was still retreating. He was hit by Lin Xian's second sword wave and slid dozens of feet away. His armor, which had been shining with holy light, had now dimmed. It was easy to imagine just how powerful the attack had been. Moreover, the sword wave was too powerful. It contained a terrifying sword intent that made his blood boil, and blood kept flowing from the corner of his mouth. "This is the expert you found." Lin Xian sneered disdainfully. "You have the nerve to come here with this little strength?" Lin Xian stood on the martial stage, looking down at He Muyue and Qi Tian, his eyes full of contempt. Damn it! Damn it! He Muyue and Qi Tian were furious. Their faces were pale, and their bodies trembled, emitting a biting cold, killing intent. Damn it, this is too much. They brought a group of experts here. They originally wanted to take down Lin Xian and destroy the Divine Dragon Pavilion's arena to relieve the resentment in their hearts. However, they didn't expect to lose 2 matches in a row as soon as they arrived. Moreover, they were mercilessly despised in public. This feeling was very embarrassing. Kid, go to hell. The spear user was furious. He roared into the sky, and an even more violent aura rose from his body. He became one with his spear, forming a terrifying aura. With a thrust of his spear, the spirit chi in the sky was driven, forming a ferocious roaring dragon that enveloped the surroundings. Everywhere it passed, cracks appeared on the ground. The windows, tables, and chairs on both sides were all turned into powder. This spear was the full force of the martial artist's attack. In the face of such a violent attack, Lin Xian's expression was cold. He repeated his previous actions, flicking out sword waves one after another. Ka, ka, ka. Every sword wave was extremely sharp, and it quickly blasted towards that martial artist. Chapter 6:23. Lin Xian flicked his fingers and shot out sword waves one after another, all of which were aimed at the spearman. Every wave of sword energy pierced through the void, forcing the spearman to retreat. In the end, his body was filled with terrifying sword holes. Poof! The spearman fell to the ground, severely injured. Blood splattered everywhere. This was too shocking. That spearman was extremely powerful, especially that spear attack just now. It could definitely pierce through any ultimate warrior. There were probably not many people present who could withstand it. However, such a powerhouse was still defeated by Lin Xian. And it was a crushing defeat. A bunch of trash. Is this what gives you two the right to be so arrogant? Lin Xian shouted angrily, looking disdainfully at everyone. He Muyue and Qi Tian were trembling with anger. This was a slap to their faces. Luo Lai, kill him! Qi Tian screamed, his face ferocious. He was about to go crazy. Only Lin Xian's death could calm him down. A young man walked out. He was tall and wore a red robe like the sun. His expression was cold, but there was a hint of ruthlessness between his brows. It was frightening. Luo Lai, it's really him, the outstanding talent of the San region, the undefeated legend. I didn't expect such a talent to appear. Everyone gasped in shock. They had no choice. Luo Lai's reputation was too great. He was like the scorching sun, high up in the sky, pressuring them until they could not breathe. Although Luo Lai was not among the four great prodigies, everyone knew that his strength was not inferior to any of them. At least, according to what they knew, he had never been defeated. Among those of the same level, he had almost instantly defeated his opponents. Even some of the powerful elders had been defeated by him. Such a person could be said to be a top powerhouse. Other than the few recognized prodigies, there were probably only one or two people in the entire San region who could go against him. As for whether Lin Xian could go against him, they did not know. Lin Xian, you're not bad. You're the first person I've seen who has such combat strength at the late stage of cultivation, Luo Lai said calmly. Everyone was shocked. They did not expect Luo Lai to give such an evaluation of Lin Xian. Qi Tian was also stunned. He frowned. What was Luo Lai doing? He actually praised the other party. He was dissatisfied, but he didn't show it. Luo Lai was a top-notch expert, but he was not his servant. The two of them only had a business relationship, and their status was equal. Therefore, he could only watch. However, with your strength, you have no chance of winning against me. Luo Lai's voice was calm, as if he was talking about something very normal. Admitting defeat is the best and wisest choice for you. With a calm expression, he looked at Lin Xian. Even though he had never displayed any arrogant and domineering behavior from the beginning to the end, his calm words revealed an unquestionable tone. This was not a suggestion, but an order. Everyone was shocked. If someone else had said something like this, they might have laughed because Lin Xian would definitely have slapped them. However, Luo Lai was different. No one would doubt his words. Qi Tian smiled. This was the effect he wanted. Humph, kid, in front of Luo Lai, you can only wait for your death. He Muyue was also relieved. You are very confident. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. But it seems that you are overconfident. You are wrong. My words have always been accurate. Luo Lai's eyes shone brightly. You will soon know that everything will go according to my plan. Come, I am looking forward to the result of this battle. Lin Xian's body also shone brightly. He immediately activated his sword intent. This time, he felt an unprecedented pressure from Luo Lai. It was obvious that Luo Lai was a strong opponent. That pressure was definitely not weaker than Xin Yaotian's. Humph, stubborn. Luo Lai snorted. He was disdainful of Lin Xian's stubbornness. It seemed that only by using his fist could he wake Lin Xian up. Boom! Luo Lai took a step forward. His body suddenly exploded with an imposing aura, a ball of blazing light, like a blood-red sun. Suddenly exploded. Luo Lai's fist blasted out. It carried an extremely strong force and instantly blasted towards Lin Xian. This fist was as fast as lightning. Coupled with the strong force, it directly stunned everyone. Lin Xian's expression was cold. The sword light in his eyes flickered. The sword intent in his body exploded, setting off a strong aura. It was like a peerless divine sword unsheathed. It was unstoppable. That swift and fierce stance caused the surrounding martial artists to be aghast. Sword intent. It is actually sword intent. Gosh, it is the third concept. This is too heaven-defying. Everyone was shocked. They'd already witnessed Lin Xian's wind concept and lightning concept, but no one had imagined that Lin Xian actually had a third concept. Moreover, it was an extremely rare sword intent. This sword intent is so sharp, it definitely surpasses the previous two concepts. Could this be Lin Xian's true strength? No wonder he is not afraid of Luo Lai. Everyone was shocked. They had never seen a genius who had comprehended three concepts. Humph! Luo Lai snorted. A cold light flickered in his eyes. It was like a sharp blade that slashed across the void. Luo Lai was surprised that Lin Xian had concealed his strength, but this also aroused his anger. He would let Lin Xian know what it meant to be an undefeatable king. The light on his body became even brighter. Rays of golden light shone and wrapped around his body, giving off a metallic texture. A cold metallic aura emanated from his body, making him look like a King Kong. Swoosh! In the void, a dazzling sword chi flashed across and quickly slashed towards Luo Lai. Boom, boom, boom. An earth-shattering sound reverberated, causing the entire arena to collapse. Nan Gongshan was shocked. He quickly brought people to reinforce the defensive array to prevent the violent energy from leaking out. The sword slashed viciously on Luo Lai's body. However, it was like metal clashing against stone, giving off a clanging sound. Luo Lai was like a King Kong war god. His body was extremely hard, and he took Lin Xian's sword head-on. Shocking, too shocking. Luo Lai's body was probably even stronger than an upper spiritual rank defensive weapon, yet it did not leave a single scratch on his body. However, Luo Lai's heart sank. Lin Xian's sword essence had exceeded his expectations. It was extremely sharp, and it caused his blood to boil. If it was not for his powerful King Kong flame demon body, he would not have been able to take that sword. However, this made him even more furious. Lin Xian was able to make him feel threatened. He could not let such a person live. Flaming metal fist. Luo Lai threw out a punch. The golden light was like a blade as it rushed towards Lin Xian. The aura was fierce, and it did not belong to Lin Xian's sword essence at all. An expert, an absolute expert. Luo Lai's every move was extremely powerful. His sharpness far exceeded that of an ordinary swordsman. This must be the power brought about by the metal spiritual energy. Lin Xian did not dare to be careless. He swung out his long sword, and the power of wind and lightning merged to form a wind and lightning sword chi. Wind and lightning cut. Countless wind and lightning forces intertwined to form a huge wind and lightning sword chi that shone in the air. The sword chi was accompanied by Lin Xian's sword essence, and it slashed forward with a terrifying momentum. Chapter 6:24. As the sword slashed down, the huge sword aura seemed to split open the void. With a sharp aura, it whizzed towards Luo Lai. The power of this sword was terrifying. The sword essence it contained was even more terrifying. In an instant, the space where Luo Lai was seemed to have been split open. The sword aura of countless thin swords was extremely violent. Feeling the terror of this sword, Luo Lai's face turned gloomy. He shouted and waved his fists. The golden light on his body shone brightly. Metal element fist. He used the power of metal. The metal runes on the surface of his body shone with golden light and clanged. His fist blasted out and exploded the area. The entire defensive light screen trembled rapidly, as if it could not withstand it. The sword aura and the fist shadow collided and burst out with monstrous energy. The two forces did not give way to each other and were in a stalemate. What a strong sword essence! It can actually resist my metal element fist. Luo Lai was shocked. He comprehended the concept of metal, and his body contained the power of metal. It could be said that his attack power was extremely strong. Among the younger generation in the entire Sand region, there were few who could match him. However, this powerful punch did not shatter his opponent's sword aura. It was almost split open by his opponent. This Lin Xian was indeed more difficult to deal with than he had imagined. At this moment, Lin Xian shouted, "Explode!" Rumble. The wind and lightning sword aura exploded and produced a destructive energy that instantly annihilated Luo Lai. In an instant, the entire arena was filled with wind and lightning. The sea of lightning spread and was terrifying. Fortunately, there was a defensive light screen. Otherwise, the entire arena would have been turned into dust. Looking at the destructive energy, the crowd was shocked. These two people were too terrifying. If there were no restrictions, they could have destroyed half of the city in an instant. Even with the defensive light screen, the martial artists still felt their hearts palpitate. Boom! A golden light pillar burst out and stirred up the exploding energy. Luo Lai's figure appeared. His body shone with golden light like a god of war. However, his face was extremely gloomy. The explosion just now had threatened him. Although he was not injured in the end, he was at a disadvantage. "Kid, you have completely angered me." Luo Lai's expression was ferocious. He was like a ferocious beast that was quickly awakening. Lin Xian held his sword. His aura was even sharper. Such an opponent was what he longed for. Fist of metal. Heaven-splitting. Luo Lai waved his fist again. The golden radiance was like thousands of swords. It formed a huge airflow and rushed towards Lin Xian. Wherever it passed, the air was torn apart like a piece of cloth. This is one of the killing moves of the Fist of Metal. Looks like Luo Lai is going to go all out. Chapter 6:25. The golden flame wave was extremely powerful. It hit the defensive light screen and tore it apart. Moreover, the terrifying light wave rushed towards Nan Gongseng and the others. If they were hit, Nan Gongseng and the other members of the casino would be turned into ashes. Seeing this scene, Qi Tianxiao, Mu Yu, and the others laughed wildly, their faces sinister. Although they didn't expect this result, they were overjoyed. Lin Xian's face changed when he saw this. He didn't dare to imagine what would happen if this attack hit. Perhaps those people would leave him forever. After these days of interaction, he had already treated Nan Gongseng as a brother. Now that his brother was in trouble, he couldn't ignore it. With a roar, Lin Xian didn't hide his strength anymore. He unleashed all the spiritual energy in his body. He used the illusory demonic steps to the extreme. His entire body disappeared in the air as he flew quickly. However, the golden light was too fast. It reached Nan Gongseng and the others in the blink of an eye. Not enough. Faster. Faster. Lin Xian roared. He didn't want a tragedy to happen. With a roar, the spiritual energy in his body exploded again. At the same time, the wind and thunder essences formed a pair of wind and thunder wings on his back. The wind and thunder wings flapped, and the two essences exploded. Together with his extreme movement technique, his speed broke through the limit at this moment. In an instant, he reached Nan Gongseng and the others. Run! Lin Xian waved his hand and formed a palm of light that pushed Nan Gongseng and the others away. As for himself, he had to face the terrifying golden flame wave. Lin Xian, Nan Gongseng retreated to a safe distance. When he saw this, he roared crazily. He wanted to rush forward, but the terrifying golden flame wave had already swallowed Lin Xian. No! Nan Gongseng roared crazily. His handsome face was filled with pain. The group of people behind him also roared angrily. They were unwilling to accept this. In order to save them, Lin Xian had put himself in great danger. This made them extremely grateful. At the same time, they were filled with regret. Brother Xian, why are you so stupid? Nan Gongseng was in pain. He didn't dare to imagine the consequences of being hit. His heart was filled with pain, as if he had lost his soul. Luo Lai, if my brother gets hurt, I won't let you off easily, Nan Gongseng roared, as he glared at the golden figure in the sky. You're not qualified. Luo Lai sneered, completely ignoring Nan Gongseng's threat. Down below, Qi Tianxiao Muyushua and the others laughed loudly. Great! This scourge is finally gone. If he was hit by that terrifying golden flame wave, even if he didn't die, he would definitely be seriously injured. When the time came, they would definitely be able to take the other party's life with a few stabs. Up ahead, golden light flickered and raging flames burned. All of the nearby buildings were destroyed, forming a terrifying scene. Not only that, but that space had also fallen into an extremely unstable state, as if it could collapse at any moment. At this moment, a ray of red light shone like a red sun, piercing through the clouds. What? Everyone was shocked as they stared ahead. Luo Lai's face was also gloomy because he could sense that Lin Xian's aura had not weakened. In fact, it had become even stronger. This is impossible. Luo Lai did not believe that no one could resist the golden flame wave head-on, not even a prodigy. However, the aura in front of him made him more and more uneasy. Originally, that space was extremely unstable. Golden light and raging flames burned, forming a cloud-like energy that enveloped everything. However, at this moment, a ball of red light pierced through the clouds, as if a red sun had risen. The red light intertwined to form a red lotus that was born from the flames. It was extremely dazzling. As soon as the red lotus appeared, the surrounding golden flames suddenly dimmed. They did not even dare to approach it. What is that? Everyone was shocked. They could not believe that there was such a powerful red lotus in the world. However, an even more shocking scene appeared. From the huge red lotus shadow, a figure slowly walked out. The figure was slender and exuded a majestic aura. It was as if an immortal king had crossed time and space. As the figure walked out, the red lotus shadow in the sky quickly condensed and finally imprinted itself on the figure. Finally, the figure was completely revealed in front of everyone's eyes. Black wind fluttered, and his eyes were filled with determination. He was wearing a fiery red battle suit with a red lotus blooming on it. It was incomparably beautiful. Lin Xian, he's still alive, the crowd exclaimed. Heavens, he's not injured. He took the golden flame wave head-on and didn't suffer any damage. I'm afraid no one in the spirit-detecting realm can do that. Who is this guy? How can he have such a powerful defense? Luo Lai also had a face of disbelief. He did not believe that his killing move would fail. However, everything in front of him had subverted his understanding. Damn it, what is that red lotus battle suit? Luo Lai's face was ferocious. Even a high-grade spiritual treasure could not have such a powerful defense, unless it was a top-grade spiritual treasure. However, top-grade spiritual treasures were extremely rare. Even supremacies might not have one. How could a late-stage spirit-detecting realm cultivator have such a treasure? Luo Lai was shocked and puzzled. He could not understand. Down below, Chi Tian, Mount Kirawud, and the others all had terrified expressions on their faces. As they looked at Lin Xian's silhouette, they revealed terrified expressions. This person was too powerful. He was definitely a peerless genius on par with Lolita. This was especially true for Chi Tian. He was filled with regret. He could not provoke such an outstanding person, even if he was from the City Lord's mansion. One had to know that as long as such a genius did not die, he would definitely enter the supremacies and become a powerful expert. Therefore, the City Lord's mansion would not provoke such a person. You dare to hurt my brother? No one can save you. Lin Xian wore the red lotus battle suit and looked like a fiery war god. His voice rang out in the air like countless sharp swords stabbing into everyone's hearts. Stop boasting. Defeat me first. Luo Lai coldly snorted. Although his opponent's defense was powerful, he would not be afraid. After all, he was the undefeatable king of the entire Sand region. Other than those few geniuses, no one was his match. Golden light flickered on Luo Lai's body and condensed into a golden battlesuit that covered his body. On the battlesuit, there were layers of flames that flickered, making him look extraordinary. Brat, I'm tired of playing with you. Go to hell. Luo Lai raised his right hand, and golden light flickered on his palm. A golden spear quickly condensed in the air. The light it emitted was even more dazzling than the sun. Radiant spear. That's Luo Lai's famous battle skill. Everyone exclaimed. Rumor has it that he once used this radiant spear to kill an extremely powerful elder. That's right. No one can escape from the spear of light. Chapter 6:26. The spear of light was unstoppable and could kill opponents stronger than itself. Luo Lai held the spear of light in his hand like a killing god. The terrifying aura caused everyone to tremble. Kid, you can die in peace now that you made me use this move. Luo Lai was very confident. This was the technique that made him famous, and was also one of his strongest killing moves. Under this move, no one could block it. Lin Xuexuan's expression turned cold as he felt the powerful force coming from the other side. The red lotus battle armor on his body shone with a demonic light. Spiritual energy fluctuated in front of him and quickly condensed into a longsword that floated in the air. It was a blood-red longsword. The moment it appeared, the void was filled with blood-red killing intent. It was as if the entire space had turned into a hellish azura field. Sword of slaughter. Facing a strong opponent like Luo Lai, Lin Xian did not hold back. With his blood-red armor and blood-red longsword, Lin Xian was like an azura from hell, filled with killing intent. Below, everyone was shocked. They trembled and quickly retreated. The auras of the two were too shocking. It was not something they could withstand. Luo Lai floated in the air, with the spear of light in his hand. He looked extraordinary, but his heart was filled with shock. The blood-red longsword was too tyrannical, causing him to feel a sense of fear. Moreover, the aura was not any weaker than his spear of light. Damn it, how could this kid have such a powerful martial technique? Luo Lai was furious. A martial artist at the late stage of the spirit-detecting realm not only had a powerful defense, but also a shocking attack. This was hard for him to accept. If he did not get rid of this person, he was afraid that he would completely surpass him in a few years. He would not allow such a person to exist. Therefore, at this moment, it was not only for the agreement with Qi Tian. Luo Lai's killing intent sword. He was determined to get rid of Lin Xian. Die. The spear of light fell like a blazing sun in the air, shattering everything in its path. Large areas of houses collapsed, and half of the arena was destroyed and turned into dust. This attack was too powerful. It was like a meteor crashing into the ground. The terrifying power spread out in all directions. Everyone below screamed and fled the arena. Those martial artists who were too slow were swept by the blazing light and vomited blood in the air. Lin Xian snorted when he saw the spear of light rushing towards him. He gripped the sword of slaughter tightly and slowly slashed towards the left. This sword seemed to be very slow, but it contained shocking killing intent. The blood-red sword Qi struck down, and boundless killing intent spread out, surging out like waves. Everything in its path was annihilated. This was the sword of slaughter, which represented a powerful blood-red killing intent. He could not escape, so he could only take it head-on. He punched out with both fists, which shone with a metallic luster. They were like powerful weapons as they blasted forward. Boom! An earth-shaking sound reverberated, and then Luo Lai was sent flying. His arms, which were like treasured weapons, were now dull and lifeless. They were filled with blood-red sword marks. Not only that, but there was also a ghastly sword wound on his chest that had almost cut him in half. His concept of metal had been broken. How can this be? I can't lose. Luo Lai was furious, but more than that, he was terrified. He had never been defeated since his debut, and he thought that he was not weaker than those peerless geniuses. This time, he came to Quicksand City to fight with those geniuses. However, he was now defeated by a martial artist in the late stage of the spirit-detecting realm. He could not accept this. Impossible. I don't believe it. Luo Lai stopped his body from retreating and roared to the sky. Golden light shone around him like a golden sea. With a roar, a huge spiritual vortex formed above his head and quickly entered his body, repairing the wounds on his body. However, the blood-red killing intent was too strong, and he could not get rid of it immediately. He could only suppress it temporarily. I will not lose. Brat, I will kill you. Luo Lai roared like an injured beast. He no longer had the calmness from before. Now he had no choice but to use his trump card. Otherwise, he would be defeated by Lin Xian today. I have to admit that you are strong. However, under my trump card, you have no chance of survival. Luo Lai regained his composure. His body was bleeding, but his expression was full of confidence. Chapter 6:27. Luo Lai became confident again. This time, he was going to use his strongest trump card. He had prepared this for challenging prodigies. He did not expect to use it here. However, he did not regret it. Lin Xian's combat power was indeed worthy of him using this move. This was originally prepared for Blackwood Cliff. I did not expect to use it on you. You should be honored to be the first witness. Luo Lai's voice was cold. Prepared for Blackwood Cliff? The surrounding warriors were shocked. Blackwood Cliff was a prodigy-level warrior from the Sand region. His strength was unfathomable and had long surpassed the limits of ordinary ultimate warriors. Other than a few other prodigies, no one else could suppress him. Now, Luo Lai's trump card was prepared to go against Blackwood Cliff. One could imagine how terrifying this trump card was. I'm afraid Lin Xian is finished. This was what many people were thinking. A trump card to go against prodigies? Lin Xian frowned. Looking at his opponent's confident look, it must not be simple. However, he was not afraid. He also had a trump card. More than one. Therefore, Lin Xian appeared quite calm. If you have a trump card, hurry up and use it. Otherwise, you won't have a chance. Lin Xian appeared very calm. This Lin Xian is really arrogant. He's still talking big. Humph. This will only speed up his death. Hey Muyue, and the rest sneered. Ignorant. Luo Lai snorted disdainfully. He believed that as long as he used his trump card, his opponent would be scared silly. A ball of golden flame appeared and pulsed in his palm. It was like a heart beating nonstop. In the middle of the flame, there was a pure golden flame. It was unusually lively and was pulsing as if it was alive. This pulsing was accompanied by a hot and sharp aura that quickly spread in all directions. The aura was very shocking, causing the surrounding warriors to tremble. It was a trembling that came from the soul. In fact, the hearts of some weaker martial artists started to beat along with the flames. It was as if they could not control it. What kind of flame is this? It's too terrifying. It can actually affect a warrior's heartbeat. Everyone was shocked. Lin Xian was also shocked. His whole body tensed up because he sensed a great danger coming from the golden flames in front of him. This feeling was very strong, and it made him feel like he was facing a venerable one. However, he quickly calmed down because he knew that the other party's cultivation was only at the peak of the spirit-detecting realm and not a venerable. Martial spirit. He actually managed to condense a trace of his martial soul. The surrounding martial artists cried out in alarm. What? That flame is actually a martial spirit. Everyone was astonished because martial spirits were unique to venerables. The power of a martial soul was extremely strong, and it was definitely beyond what a spirit-detecting realm martial artist could endure. Who would have thought that Luo Lai would be able to condense a trace of his martial spirit? How terrifying! Everyone was incomparably shocked. If a martial artist at the limit of the spirit-detecting realm wanted to enter the higher realm of the venerable realm, they had to first achieve perfection in their intent realm and comprehend and condense the embryonic form of their martial soul. Only then would they have the qualifications to enter the venerable realm. Therefore, the embryonic form of a martial soul was something that all martial artists yearned for. However, Luo Lai had actually condensed a trace of his martial soul. Although it was very small, it was indeed an embryonic form of a martial soul. Lin Xian was also shocked. He did not think that Luo Lai would be able to reach this step. He was indeed a top genius. That's not right. Didn't he comprehend the concept of gold? Why is the embryonic form of his martial soul aflame? Someone asked doubtfully. Actually, everyone was puzzled. Lin Xian also frowned, but his soul force was outstanding. He keenly noticed that there was a trace of pure gold light within the golden flame. It did not seem to be a flame, but a small knife. It's a knife. Lin Xian was shocked. He realized that the flame outside was not the embryonic form of a martial soul. Only the small pure gold knife in the center was Luo Lai's martial soul. Although it was small, the pressure it emitted covered everything. Kid, I have already comprehended a trace of the embryonic form of my martial soul. I am unrivaled in the same realm. Therefore, you can die now. Luo Lai's voice was cold as he looked down at Lin Xian, the embryonic form of a martial soul. He did not expect Luo Lai to have condensed the embryonic form of a martial soul. He Muyue laughed wildly. This was great. That kid surnamed Lin was dead for sure. Qi Tian also let out a sigh of relief. Lin Xian gave him too much pressure. Therefore, he was eager to kill Lin Xian. The current situation was just right for him to fulfill his wish. A trace of the embryonic form of a martial soul is indeed powerful. Lin Xian's expression was solemn. He did not underestimate his opponent. However, he was not afraid at all. Not long ago, he had returned the dragon sword soul to its origin. Although he had not completely refined the dragon sword soul, if he fully activated it, its power would be enough to contend with Luo Lai. It might even be stronger. You are the strongest opponent I have encountered so far. Therefore, you are worthy of my full strength." Lin Xian's voice was steady. There was no trace of panic. Luo Lai smiled, contemptuously. After releasing a trace of his martial soul, he did not put Lin Xian in his eyes at all. Luo Lai raised his right hand and held the golden flame in front of his chest. Chapter 628. Lin Xian's attack, which was similar to the embryonic form of a martial soul, had shocked everyone. Moreover, the power of that sword was even more shocking. In the void, the golden saber contained in the golden flame spun rapidly and shook the surroundings. It was as if thousands of soldiers and horses were trampling through the void. That aura was too violent. It was like a raging wave that quickly spread over. On the other side, Lin Xian's blood-red sword Qi was even more terrifying. The roar was like a violent torrent that poured out in torrents. One was the embryonic form of a golden saber formed by the sublimation of the concept of metal. The other was a true dragon sword Qi that was filled with blood-red killing intent and the greater success of the sword intent. The two of them clashed. The void boiled and quickly split open. At the point of intersection, a chaotic fog was emitted. The golden saber flashed and swept in all directions. At the same time, a sea of blood filled the air. The roar of a true dragon was endless. Collision, an intense collision. That terrifying momentum was unforgettable for the surrounding martial artists. Fortunately, there were venerables to create a unique battle space. Otherwise, the two of them would have destroyed more than half of Quicksand City. This was just a trace of the embryonic form of a martial soul. If it was a real martial soul, a casual attack could destroy the entire Quicksand City. One had to know that Quicksand City was not an ordinary city. It was a huge city in the Sand Country. It covered thousands of miles and was very vast. From this, it could be seen how terrifying the power of a martial soul was. In the void, the two forces collided, creating a terrifying wave that wrapped around Luo Lai and Lin Xian. The surrounding people were nervous and watched closely. When the violent energy dissipated, the figures of the two were revealed. Luo Lai's body flew out, as if he had been struck by lightning. The golden armor on his body was broken in many places. It was very miserable. Every time he took a step back, he would step into the void. It was as if a giant hammer was striking a drum, producing a violent sound. Moreover, the surrounding air was like a wave, quickly spreading out. Lin Xian was also sent flying. However, the red lotus battle suit on his body shone with a demonic light, forming the strongest defense. It seemed that he did not suffer much impact. Everyone was shocked. The scene in front of them showed that Lin Xian seemed to have the upper hand. This was too shocking. The young man in front of them was too powerful. He could actually suppress Luo Lai, who was known as the Invincible King. Just how strong was his strength? Could it be that he was already on par with those geniuses? This was what everyone was wondering. Luo Lai was too powerful. Among the younger generation of the Sand region, only a few geniuses could defeat Luo Lai. Some observant people noticed that ever since Lin Xian appeared in Quicksand City, he had won every battle. They didn't know if this was the rise of another undefeated king. However, they knew that Lin Xian's strength was definitely comparable to a prodigy's. Such a person was still above everyone else. Whoosh! The colorful light screen disappeared. It was obvious that the city lord had removed the energy. However, with his powerful soul perception, Lin Xian knew that the surrounding sovereign's consciousness were still there. Taking a deep breath, Lin Xian looked down. Today's matter had to be settled. Sensing Lin Xian's gaze, Yamayama and Qi Tian trembled and almost wet themselves. Lin Xian was too powerful. Even Luo Lai was no match for him, let alone the two of them. What do you want? Yamayama asked with a trembling voice. You brought people to cause trouble and even tried to kill me. Now that I've beaten them away, do you think this is the end? What a joke! Lin Xian snorted. How could he show mercy when others wanted to kill him? However, the situation was very special. The sovereigns were watching, so he couldn't go too far. At the very least, he couldn't offend everyone. Lin Xian looked at Qi Tian and said, For the sake of the city lord, I'll let you go today. I hope you won't participate in this kind of thing in the future. Otherwise, you'll have to bear the consequences. Qi Tian quickly nodded like a chicken pecking at rice. He was greatly relieved, knowing that this time it was fine. Moreover, even without Lin Xian's reminder, he wouldn't dare to participate in this kind of thing in the future. As for you, Lin Xian looked at Yamayama and the others again. Just because I didn't want to join your Blackwood Castle's arena, you and Yamayama tried to get rid of me. Your Blackwood family is truly shameless. For the sake of your sovereigns, I won't kill you today. However, I'll cut off one of your arms as a lesson. Chapter 629. Chop off an arm. Everyone was shocked. Lin Xian let Qi Tian off, but he wanted to punish He Muyue and the others. This was obviously going against the Blackwood stronghold. However, from Lin Xian's words, everyone understood the grudge between him and the Blackwood stronghold. From this point of view, it was indeed the Blackwood stronghold that was too arrogant and in the wrong. However, the Blackwood stronghold had always been so overbearing and arrogant. Those who were related to Wu and I and the others were all mercilessly assassinated. But this time, they seemed to have kicked an iron plate. Not only were the martial artists below shocked, but even the supreme experts in the surroundings were greatly surprised. In the soul spirit perception, there were supreme experts from the Blackwood stronghold. Right now, a fifth-stage spirit detection realm martial artist actually wanted to kill a disciple of the Blackwood stronghold in front of a supreme expert. This was a blatant slap to the face. Deep in the clouds, an elder stood in the void. That elder was wearing a green robe, and the word battle was drawn on his chest with golden lines. The dragon and phoenix were dancing and emitting an indescribable aura. At this moment, the elder smiled as he looked at the scene below and nodded slightly. Not bad. This kid has some character. Beside the elder, there was a young lady wearing a green gauze dress. The young lady had an elegant appearance and was emitting a different aura, especially that pair of eyes which were like gemstones and abnormally spirited. She curled her lips and said with disdain, trying to be brave in front of a supreme expert, "What an idiot." "But, old man, didn't you notice anything? How many times have I told you to call me master? Why are you so disobedient?" The green-robed elder had an unhappy expression. Humph! The young lady in the green gauze dress snorted and ignored the green-robed elder's dissatisfaction. She then said again, "Don't you think that he is very similar to the person in the portrait in the palace?" Hearing that, the green-robed elder was slightly startled and looked carefully. "You don't say. There are some similarities, but this youth's age is slightly older than the one in the portrait. No way. Could it really be that person?" The young lady in the green gauze dress covered her mouth and exclaimed, "Interesting. If it is really him, then it will be even more interesting." The elder and the young lady discussed softly and paid close attention to the situation below. When the venerable from Blackwood Stronghold heard Lin's words, he immediately snorted in dissatisfaction, although his real body had not arrived, and it was only the aura of his soul. His voice was filled with the pressure of a venerable one. However, The great dragon sword soul in his body roared ferociously and quickly neutralized the pressure. Lin Xian's expression was solemn. Young man, it's better to be careful. Otherwise, it would be a pity if you fall. The Venerable One's voice was cold, and there was a strong sense of threat in it. According to the rules of Quicksand City, the older generation generally did not interfere in the affairs of the younger generation. Moreover, in front of so many people, it was even more inappropriate for a Venerable One to do such a thing. Therefore, the Blackwood Stronghold's Venerable One condensed this clone. However, his killing intent towards Lin Xian was not weak at all. Enough is enough. Lin Xian sneered. When you tried to assassinate me time and time again, did you think of this principle? Don't you think it's ridiculous to try to reason with me now? Facing a Venerable One, Lin Xian was not afraid. Everyone fell silent after hearing that. Although what Lin Xian said made sense, it was not a wise choice to openly go against a Venerable One. Junior, you're very arrogant. You should know that dead geniuses are nothing. The Venerable One's clone's face was gloomy, and there was a cold, killing intent in his voice. Arrogant? I don't dare. Compared to your Blackwood stronghold, I'm still far from it. Lin Xian smiled indifferently. Impudent. Hearing Lin Xian's mocking words, the Venerable One's clone flew into a rage. He shouted coldly, and the void quickly exploded, forming a terrifying wave of air that enveloped Lin Xian. Lin Xian's pupils shrank. He activated the great dragon sword soul again, forming a biting cold sword chi that slashed in all directions, instantly destroying the wave of air. A dignified, Venerable One actually attacked a junior. How impressive! How powerful! Lin Xian sneered. The other party was a Venerable One, and he actually dared to attack him in public. Lin Xian's killing intent was biting cold. Since the other party did not care about his status, he could not care less. He must cut off an arm of He Muyue and the others. The Venerable One's clone coldly snorted, then stood with his hands behind his back and said arrogantly, "Who do you think you are? You're not worthy for me to attack. Today's matter ends here. I'm going to take them back now. I said that I'll cut off an arm of theirs today, so I must do it." Lin Xian's voice was sonorous, not backing down an inch. His body emitted a shocking battle intent. Then he held the slaughter sword in his hand and shouted angrily. He quickly slashed out a blood-red sword chi, like a wave of blood rolling out. "Junior, you're courting death." The Venerable One's clone sneered. He pointed out a finger, colliding with the blood-red slaughter sword chi. The two collided, creating a loud explosion, forming a rain of light and a sea of blood. But at this time, Lin Xian's lips curled into a sneer. His large success sword intent surged out crazily, quickly covering all directions. This sword intent was very shocking, immediately causing the surrounding martial artists' weapons to tremble rapidly. In the next moment, He Muyue and the three martial artists behind him pulled out their weapons, quickly turning and slashing down, slashing at their right arms. Puchi! Blood splattered, and miserable screams rang out, extremely ear-piercing. It seemed that the opponent was also a venerable like him, who, "Get out here! You actually dare to meddle in the affairs of Blackwood Castle." Blackwood Castle. How impressive! A dignified venerable actually dares to attack a junior. How capable! A mocking voice was heard. Then, the rain of light in the sky fluttered and quickly formed a word in the air. Fight! The characters were flamboyant and contained immeasurable energy. Seeing the word fight, the surrounding venerables' divine senses were all startled. The pupils of the Blackwood Fort's venerables shrank. Palace of Ares. It's actually someone from the Palace of Ares. He was astonished, and his expression became extremely ugly. The Palace of Ares was a powerful force. There were kings in the palace, and they were an overlord in the sky martial continent. Although their foundation was not in the sand region, they were not to be underestimated. One must know that not long ago, the primordial Yang stone mine appeared in the setting sun desert. Their Blackwood Fort had once fought with the Palace of Ares for it, but they lost in the end. And now, the people from the Palace of Ares appeared again. He didn't know what the other party's intentions were, and he didn't know why they would protect Lin Xian. He quickly sent a message wanting his main body to rush over. Otherwise, a clone wouldn't be enough. At this time, a five-colored figure appeared and said in a clear voice, "I didn't expect a friend from the Palace of Ares to come. Why don't you come out for a chat?" That five-colored figure was City Lord Qi. The crowd below was shocked. They had heard of the Palace of Ares' reputation. It was the overlord of the entire sky martial continent. They didn't expect the other parties honorable to appear here and even save Lin Xian. Could it be that Lin Xian is someone from the Palace of Ares? The crowd guessed. Otherwise, why would the honorable from the Palace of Ares help? Moreover, a monstrous genius like Lin Xian could only be nurtured by the Palace of Ares. It wasn't just one person who thought so. Almost everyone thought so. Nan Gongseng and the rest also heaved a sigh of relief. Lin Xian had given them too much shock, and they didn't need to worry at all. City Lord Qi's words were still echoing when two figures appeared from the clouds and flew down quickly. It was an old man, and beside him was a beautiful young lady in a green dress. She exuded a unique aura. The old man and the young lady were like immortals floating down. "Hee, City Lord Qi, greetings." The old man in green smiled. "Senior, thank you for your help," Lin Xian said. Hearing Lin Xian's words, the crowd was stirred again. It seemed that Lin Xian wasn't someone from the Palace of Ares. The honorable from Blackwood Stronghold snorted. "This is my Blackwood Stronghold's matter. As someone from the Palace of Ares, aren't you crossing the line a little?" Chapter 631. It was a threat, a naked threat. Not only did he threaten the two of them, but he also threatened the entire Blackwood Fort. They were very angry. As the top forces of Quicksand City, when had they ever been threatened like this? However, they could only endure it because the other party was from the Palace of War. That was a real giant. If they angered him, there might really be a disaster. However, they were really unwilling to admit defeat just like that. As if he understood both sides, the green-clothed old man smiled indifferently. "How about this? I'll give you a chance to save your face. Use your strongest attacks. If you can make me take a step back, then I won't interfere in this matter anymore." Hearing this, everyone was shocked. This was too arrogant, too domineering. The two venerables of the Blackwood Fort were so angry that their faces turned black. This person had underestimated them too much. The two of them looked at each other and prepared to attack. "Let me remind you, you can attack together," the green-clothed old man said casually. Hearing this, even the corners of City Lord Qi's mouth twitched slightly. He sighed and didn't say anything else. The two venerables of the Blackwood Fort were so angry that their bodies trembled. How dare he underestimate them? However, after discussing, the two of them decided to attack together. In any case, this was the other party's request. They could seize the opportunity to fiercely dampen the other party's limelight. They wanted to let everyone know who was the real overlord in Quicksand City. Since fellow Taoist has requested it, then we will definitely fulfill it. The two of them sneered. Their auras surged, and waves of energy belonging to venerables surged out. Lin Xian frowned and flew to a safe place. However, he was also uneasy in his heart. Wasn't it a bit overconfident to face two venerables alone? However, he didn't understand the situation of venerables, so he couldn't make a judgment rashly. However, looking at the green-clothed old man's expression, he didn't seem to care at all. In the next moment, the two venerables of the Blackwood Fort attacked. Vast and mighty energy filled heaven and earth. The middle-aged man slashed out a saber light. It was so dazzling that it tore the entire space apart. That power had completely surpassed the spirit detecting stage. The vast and mighty aura seemed to have triggered the momentum of heaven and earth. It was incomparably terrifying. The other old man waved his fist and threw out a punch. It was like a meteor chasing the moon, releasing tens of thousands of rays of light. Two terrifying attacks blasted towards the green-clothed old man at the same time. In an instant, the entire void began to collapse. Everyone below was terrified, and their faces turned pale from the pressure of this energy. However, the old man in green was very calm. He formed a seal with one hand and quickly blasted it forward. Mountain seal. A mountain condensed and appeared between heaven and earth. It was like a divine mountain that weighed over 10,000 jin. It flickered with light and blasted forward. A large area of the void was torn apart. Countless horrifying cracks spread out, pitch black like a black hole. Rumble. The huge divine mountain moved horizontally and collided with the blade and fist shadows, emitting an apocalyptic sense of crisis. City Lord Qi's expression changed. Together with a few venerables who were hiding in the dark, they quickly formed a light screen to cover the town below. Otherwise, the entire quicksand city would be destroyed. The four venerable ones joined forces to defend and finally blocked the energy. The violent energy disappeared, and the sky became clear again. The azure-robed old man stood there indifferently. Beside him, the young girl in the azure-robed dress looked ahead with disdain. There, the two Blackwood Fort venerables kept retreating. Every step he took back cracked the void. It was terrifying to the extreme. This scene showed who was superior. Lin Xian was shocked. This old man from the Palace of War was too powerful. He could actually fight against two venerables alone. Not only Lin Xian, but the nearby venerables were also shocked. At the venerable realm, the improvement of one's strength was very slow. It often required hundreds of years of accumulation. Moreover, the improvement of each realm was very difficult. There were 9 heavens of venerable realm, and each realm was worlds apart. The two venerables from the Blackwood Fort stopped, and their expressions became very ugly. The two of them were first and second venerable realm experts, respectively. When the two of them joined forces, they were incomparably powerful. However, they were actually forced back by a single hand. This was definitely a humiliation. Their eyes burned with anger as their chests heaved up and down. With a long roar, the two of them activated their martial souls with all their might and attacked crazily. A long saber appeared in front of the middle-aged man, emitting a terrifying pressure. As soon as it appeared, it crushed all directions. Its power was definitely not something that a spiritual treasure could compare to. Long saber, martial soul. It was the middle-aged man's martial soul. With the saber in hand, the middle-aged man seemed to have turned into a saber god, incomparably valiant. On the other side, the old man also summoned his martial soul. His martial soul was a goshawk. Its entire body was pitch black, and a murderous aura surged on it, emitting fluctuations that made one's heart palpitate. The two of them summoned their martial souls at the same time, as if they were facing a great enemy. "Ha ha! Today I'll make you accept your defeat wholeheartedly." The green-robed old man laughed loudly. In the next moment, a green light bloomed around his body, enveloping all directions. A vast and unfathomable energy spread out, incomparably profound. In an instant, it enveloped the two martial artists from the Blackwood Fort. Terrifying energy erupted, and every trace of it could tear the void apart. Lin Xian looked at the sky, shocked. This was the power of a venerable. It was incomparably violent and had the power of heaven and earth. Ah! Suddenly, two screams were heard. It was very ear-piercing. As soon as the screams came out, City Lord Qi and the other venerables were shocked. Lin Xian was also shocked and looked up. In the void, two figures were covered in blood and fled into the distance in an extremely sorry state. They were very fast and disappeared in an instant. However, wherever they passed, blood spread in the void. It was very terrifying. Hiss! City Lord Qi and the others gasped, and their eyelids twitched wildly. In just a short while, the two venerables from the Blackwood Fort were defeated, and they fled with serious injuries. After all, one of them was at the second level of the venerable realm. When the two of them joined forces, they could even fight against a third-level venerable. However, they couldn't resist at all in front of the green-robed old man. For a moment, the green-robed old man became mysterious in the eyes of everyone. The green light that filled the sky dissipated, revealing the figure of the green-robed old man. Beside him, the young girl from the Green Radish group was still smiling faintly, as if she was laughing at the two who fled. Ha! I wonder who else wants to have a taste of it. The green-robed old man chuckled. Silence, absolute silence. Fellow Taoist, you must be joking. City Lord Qi laughed dryly. This is just an accident. Don't worry. I guarantee that no venerable realm martial artist will attack juniors in Quicksand City. Hearing that, the green-robed old man nodded in satisfaction. On the other hand, Lin Xian scratched his head. It was resolved just like that. Wasn't happiness coming too suddenly? However, he was still very puzzled as to why the green-robed old man would help him. He had many secrets, so he had to be careful. Unless it was a last resort, he was really unwilling to get involved with an expert like a venerable. However, the other party didn't seem to think so, because the green-robed old man had his eyes on Lin Xian. Chapter 632. Although the green-clothed old man looked kind, Lin Xian still felt a chill down his spine. This old man was definitely a terrifying figure to be able to injure two supremacies with one strike. Nothing good would come out of it if such a person targeted him. Well, thank you for your help. I'll take my leave now. Lin Xian felt a chill down his spine. He didn't want to stay any longer. Hee little guy, don't be impatient. I have something to ask you, the green-clothed old man said with a smile. In the end, Lin Xian couldn't escape. In the quiet courtyard, Lin Xian looked at the green-clothed old man in front of him with vigilance. Beside him, the girl in the green dress stared at Lin Xian curiously. Her big eyes were blinking. The crimson dragon was originally hiding in Lin Xian's sleeve. Now that it was enveloped by the aura of a supremacy, it felt uncomfortable and ran out. The little white monkey also jumped out and played with the spirit fruit. This snake. The green-clothed old man was surprised. The girl, Qing turned to look at the little white monkey with a face full of joy. Phew! Feeling the pressure on him disappear, Lin Xian secretly heaved a sigh of relief. After a while, Lin Xian asked, "May I know why Senior is looking for me?" "Yes, it's like this." The green-clothed old man gave up his research on the crimson dragon and said with a smile, "Little guy, what's your name?" "I'm Lin Xian." "Your surname is Lin." The green-clothed old man and the girl looked at each other. They were even more certain of their guess. Where are you from? Tianan region. What's your father's name? Lin Zhan. Lin Xian was puzzled, but he still said it out loud. As expected, the green-clothed old man sighed in his heart. He felt that it was very likely. However, he wasn't 100% sure. After all, there were cases of impersonators in the past, but they all ended up badly. Senior, I'm here to look for my father. May I know where he is? The green-clothed old man stroked his beard. Just as he was about to say something, a powerful and cold aura suddenly enveloped the surroundings. The entire sky instantly darkened. Black clouds rolled in the sky, as if they were demonic clouds. A powerful aura that made people tremble could be felt. The azure-robed elder's expression changed, and his expression became extremely solemn. Brat, if you want to know the answer, go to the Palace of Ares. After saying that, he took the girl beside him and turned into a beam of light, shooting straight into the sky. The demonic cloud was very powerful, and its speed was very fast. In an instant, it had left the sky above their heads. The green-robed elder followed, and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Palace of Ares? Within the courtyard, Lin Xian's eyes were shining. His main goal in coming to the Martial Heaven continent was to find his father. Now he finally got the news. However, he didn't know what relationship his father had with the Palace of Ares. Could it be that father is also a member of the Palace of Gods of War? Lin Xian guessed, feeling extremely puzzled. Furthermore, from the attitude of the green-clothed old man, it was obvious that he was closely related to his father. He decided that as soon as he obtained the divine dream bone in Quicksand City, he would immediately set out for the War God Palace. In the following time, Lin Xian entered a state of cultivation. After his battle with Luo Lai, he had a new understanding of the embryonic form of his martial soul. Even his greater success sword intent, which hadn't changed for a long time, showed signs of loosening. It wouldn't be long before he broke through and reached the great perfection realm. During this period, Lin Xian's mind was constantly recalling the scene of his battle with Luo Lai, especially the form of the embryonic form of his martial soul. Lin Xian extracted that wonderful feeling bit by bit and constantly simulated it. In the blink of an eye, 3 days passed. In these 3 days, the Divine Dragon Pavilion's battle arena was being rebuilt. Although the building was destroyed, Nan Gongseng and the others weren't depressed at all. Everyone had a smile on their faces, and their eyes were filled with excitement. Because of Lin Xian, their Divine Dragon Pavilion's battle arena had become famous again. Moreover, from now on, there would probably be no one who would come to cause trouble. After all, even a top genius like Luo Lai had been defeated. It was useless for others to come. Just as Nan Gongseng's side was cheering, the Blackwood Fort was silent. Their disciple had an arm chopped off outside. The 2 supremacies who stepped forward were even injured and fled back in panic. Those disciples in the clan were scared out of their wits, feeling as if the end of the world had arrived. The higher-ups of the Blackwood Fort were even more furious. When had they ever suffered such humiliation? However, the other party was from the Palace of Gods of War and was extremely powerful. Unless they used their clan's foundation, they might be able to win. However, that would undoubtedly anger the Palace of Gods of War. At that time, it wasn't something their Blackwood Fort could withstand. Therefore, they could only endure. Of course, the person they hated the most was still Lin Xian. Towards this little thief, the elders of the Blackwood Fort wished they could tear him apart immediately. However, the green-clothed elders' warning was very obvious, so they could only endure for the time being. They were waiting. As long as the prodigy of their clan, He Muya, returned, he would definitely be able to kill the other party. This was because He Muya was powerful and was one of the top prodigies of the Sand region. He even had 1 foot in the supremacy realm. Such a person wouldn't be afraid of anyone other than supremacies. Chapter 633. This figure was none other than Lin Xian. After these days of enlightenment, he had finally cultivated his sword intent to the Great Perfection realm. Great Perfection sword intent was the highest realm of sword intent. If he wanted to take another step forward, he would have to develop his martial soul. In other words, Lin Xian's next step was to condense the embryonic form of his martial soul. Of course, he wanted to condense the embryonic form of his sword soul. Moreover, he had the great dragon sword soul, so he only needed to fuse his Great Perfection sword soul with it. It could be said that Lin Xian had an innate advantage over others when it came to condensing the embryonic form of his martial soul. As long as he condensed the embryonic form of his martial soul, even if his cultivation hadn't reached the limit of the spirit detecting realm, his combat strength would be half a step into the venerable realm. Once he successfully condensed a true martial soul, he would have the strength to fight against a venerable realm expert. At that time, he wouldn't be as passive as he was now. His body swayed, and countless sword rays appeared under his feet, carrying him down. A huge vacuum appeared where he had been cultivating. At this moment, the black hole was spinning rapidly, stirring up the surrounding yellow sand. Not only that, but the yellow sand around him was also flowing, making rustling sounds. The entire yellow sand ground shook as if something was about to appear. What's this? Lin Xian was puzzled. He didn't expect that a random place would cause such a phenomenon. It's coming from underground. The Crimson Dragon's expression was also serious as it pointed its dragon claws downward. Wuji, the snow-white monkey blinked its big eyes and was also on guard. It jumped onto Lin Xian's shoulder and grabbed his hair tightly. Lin Xian was curious and decided to investigate. He waved his finger, and a bright sword ray slashed out, splitting the yellow sand underground. He had already comprehended the Great Perfection sword intent, and his attack power was several times stronger than before. Therefore, he easily tore a terrifying crack in the yellow sand below. Lin Xian's body swayed, and the Crimson Dragon followed closely behind. Whoosh! The man and the two beasts quickly arrived below. Then Lin Xian was stunned. This was because the place he was in was not filled with yellow sand, but a vast expanse of solid ground. On the ground, there were countless stone tablets standing on the ground, forming a strange formation. Beside the stone tablet, there were white bones filled with the aura of death. Lin Xian was shocked when he saw the stone tablets all over the ground. He suddenly recalled that there were similar stone tablets near the Xian sword in the Xia kingdom. Moreover, that place was known as the demonic abyss, and it could suck in everything nearby. The strength of these four old monsters was absolutely terrifying. When they worked together, they could even contend against a supremacy. They were absolutely confident that they could eliminate Lin Xian. The four of them quickly left the quicksand layer and lay in ambush on the only way back to the city. One day later, Lin Xian's figure appeared. He quickly rushed to Quicksand City. However, halfway there, he suddenly became alert. An extremely strong sense of danger rose from the bottom of his heart. This was an instinctive reaction that could predict extreme danger. Therefore, Lin Xian immediately returned the way he came. This time, his speed was even faster. He directly turned into a sword light and tore through the void, quickly disappearing on the spot. Boom! At the same time, in front of where Lin Xian was standing, four powerful auras exploded and crushed the void. Four figures appeared in the void like Azura ghosts. These four people were dressed in black robes, and even their heads were covered by a wide hood. At this moment, they were emitting an extremely powerful aura. "Chase! We can't let him escape!" One of the old voices sounded. Immediately, the four of them quickly disappeared and chased after Lin Xian. Feeling the 4 powerful auras behind him, Lin Xian's face was abnormally ugly. He had just defeated Luo Lai and was warned by a supremacy. Who would dare to attack him? Needless to say, it must be the Blackwood family, because other than the Blackwood family, no one else was at risk of catching a cold. Thinking about it, the other party should know that the supremacy of the palace of Ares had left. Moreover, they did not send any supremacies, so it was not against the rules. This Blackwood family, what a good idea. Behind him, the 4 auras were too powerful. 3 of them were not weaker than Luo Lai. The last one was even more terrifying. The powerful pressure made him feel like he was facing a supremacy. That kid definitely can't stay here for a long time. You want to use the dangerous forbidden area to plot against us? How laughable! The 4 of them searched and soon found Lin Xian. Brat, don't think that you can save your life by running here. Although this place is strange, it can't save you. The 4 elders of the Blackwood Castle grinned hideously. They blocked the way and looked at Lin Xian with murderous intent. It was even to the extent that they didn't have to make a move. They only had to chase Lin Xian into the depths of the stone steel, and they would be able to annihilate his body and soul. Among them, one of the elders waved his hand, and an enormous palm of light gushed out and swept over. It was as fast as lightning and was extremely swift and fierce. This palm was extremely ingenious. If Lin Xian dodged, he would definitely enter the depths. However, if he chose to take it head-on, this palm carried the power of a martial soul's embryonic form, and it would definitely cause him to be heavily injured. Moreover, even if he could withstand 1 palm, he would absolutely be able to withstand 10 or even 100 palms. As long as they spent some time, they would be able to kill Lin Xian here. They wanted to get rid of Lin Xian too much. Not only because Lin Xian had killed their disciples, but also because Lin Xian's talent was too heaven-defying. If such a figure were to mature, it wouldn't take long for him to step into the venerable realm. Moreover, he would be an extremely powerful one. At that time, it would be a disaster for their Blackwood family. Therefore, they wouldn't allow Lin Xian to mature. Looking at the palm of light that was flying over, Lin Xian's face darkened slightly because he could also see through the other party's thoughts. However, it was impossible for him to go deep inside. He wasn't confident. Moreover, this place was too strange, so he chose to take it head-on. His entire body bloomed with light, condensing into a red lotus that was incomparably beautiful. In an instant, the red lotus armor covered his entire body. Although it was only an illusory image condensed from spiritual power, its defense was definitely incomparably strong. Boom! Powerful energy accompanied the palm of light, and all of it bombarded Lin Xian's body. This palm was extremely fierce. Even though Lin Xian had the red lotus armor, he still felt the qi and blood in his body churning, and all the bones in his body seemed to have cracked. Damn it! Lin Xian gritted his teeth and growled. His eyes were filled with killing intent. It was his and the Crimson Dragon's idea to come to this forbidden place. He would enter the formation as bait, while the Crimson Dragon would hide in the dark and secretly set up a formation to capture all of them in one fell swoop. As long as the formation was completed, all 4 of them would be teleported to the depths of the forbidden place. With how terrifying this place was, it could definitely kill all 4 of them. Therefore, he had to wait now. He had to wait until the Crimson Dragon's formation was completed. Moreover, he couldn't reveal any flaws during this period to avoid arousing the 4's suspicion and vigilance. Therefore, Lin Xian's task was very difficult. He had to stabilize the 4 of them while also withstanding their attacks. It could be said that he was in danger. However, once he succeeded, he would be able to completely kill all four of them. If he succeeded, it would definitely cause a huge blow to the Blackwood family. You four old things actually dare to chase after me. Aren't you afraid of the Palace of Ares' revenge? Palace of Ares? The four elders of the Blackwood fort sneered. Don't take us for fools. The people of the Palace of Ares have already left. Moreover, we didn't send out any venerables. It's not considered a violation of the agreement. Moreover, so what if we send them out? No one will know if we kill you here. Brat, blame yourself for being an idiot. How dare you leave the city under such circumstances? The four of them sneered. They didn't take Lin Xian seriously at all. They indeed had such confidence. The four of them had condensed the embryonic form of their martial souls. If they joined forces, no one below the venerable realm could escape. Moreover, the other party had already entered the killing formation. There was no chance of survival. How dare you go against the Blackwood fort? I'll let you die in despair and pain. Kill him slowly. I want to watch his blood flow out bit by bit. The four elders sneered and attacked one after another. A fist like a heavenly hammer shone with a metallic light and smashed down toward Lin Xian. On the other side, dozens of flames surged out and turned into fire snakes. They roared ferociously and rampaged in the void. Lin Xian's heart was heavy. Killing intent burst out from his eyes. He executed his footwork and dodged rapidly in the limited space. He also quickly pulled out the Wind Shadow sword to counterattack. Even though he had the Red Lotus armor, he didn't dare to take it head-on. After all, the four of them were too powerful. None of them was weaker than him. You're tuning into the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.